Chapter 4003. Jack nodded obediently and went back to the trunk of the off-road vehicle to take out a black plastic bag. Then, the two of them walked in. After the masked girl walked in, the group behind her dared to stand up. "That person looks like Hua Xiqian," Zhao Qingya said in a low voice. When she was in China, she had met Hua Xiqian many times, so she had always wanted to ask why Hua Xiqian was with that woman. However, as soon as she said that, Mr. Y slapped her hard in the face. Zhao Qingya saw stars from the beating. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. "Shut up and don't talk in front of His Highness, or I'll skin you alive." Zhao Qingya covered her face and didn't dare to say a word. Mr. Y had always been a violent maniac. Especially after he started taking drugs, he became even more violent, so Zhao Qingya was very afraid of him. Now that she saw how afraid he was of that woman, Zhao Qingya didn't dare to say a word. After all, she knew what these people were capable of. This masked girl was crueler than the ferocious Y. She was definitely not a good person. This time, the masked girl came with a low profile and only brought Jack with her. It was obvious that she was very confident in herself and wasn't afraid of anyone rebelling. After the masked girl changed her clothes, she walked out and stood in front of Jack. It was a very casual hoodie, jeans, and white sneakers. It was a very casual outfit, and her hair was tied up in a simple ponytail. Then, in front of Jack, the girl slowly took off her mask. Jack's eyes became deep. It was an indescribable emotion, and he fell into a deep trance. "Do I look like him?" The moment the girl spoke, Jack was about to go crazy. Very. He tried to suppress his emotions. "Haha, wait for me outside. I'll go see him." "Okay." Then, the masked girl walked into the small wooden house where Suyu was locked up. Jack guarded the door and was on guard against everything outside. After Suyu was shot, his wound began to fester because he didn't treat it in time. Also, he had a high fever because of the infection. He didn't even touch the food and water that was brought in. It was as if he didn't want to live anymore. He wanted to give up. He even wanted to say that if he died just like that, Huamin wouldn't have to take the risk. In short, Suyu was curled up in the corner of the cabin with his eyes closed. His face was extremely haggard. The young master of the Su family, the young master of a wealthy family, was now just an ordinary person on the verge of death. "Suyu! Suyu!" After hearing the familiar voice, Suyu slowly opened his eyes. When he saw the woman in front of him, his eyes lit up. "Am I going to die? Am I experiencing terminal lucidity? It's good to see you." Suyu's voice was very weak. He reluctantly raised his hand, ignoring the pain of the bullet on his collarbone, and reached out to touch the delicate face of the woman in front of him. "Mion, I'm dying. I might not be able to protect you anymore. Suyu, don't die. Look at me. I'm here to save you. Thank you for coming to my dream. It's good to see you one last time, even if it's a dream." Suyu was a little dizzy from his fever and thought he was dreaming. But the woman picked up a bowl of water and placed it by Suyu's lips. "Drink some water first." Suyu subconsciously took a big gulp. Then he gradually woke up. He rubbed his eyes and looked carefully again. The person in front of him was indeed Huamin. "Mion." Suyu was shocked this time. He now understood that this wasn't a dream. It was real. The woman smiled, but didn't say anything. When Suyu looked down, he was even more surprised. "Mion, where's your child?" Huamin was supposed to be a pregnant woman with a big belly who was about to give birth. However, the woman in front of him had a flat belly, just like Huamin when she was a young girl a few years ago. Yes, it wasn't a perfect likeness. It wasn't a low-end imitation like Zhang Manlin's. This was the real deal. Chapter 4004. The children are gone. Suyu, listen to me. If I tell you that I want to be with you and divorce Qin Shu, will you want me? The woman's face was unprecedentedly sincere. Her eyes were also clear. It couldn't be faked. Suyu was still suspicious. He thought that Zhao Qingya and the others might have found a woman to disguise herself as Huamin. So, he reached out and touched her face. It was indeed skin. There was no human skin mask, no excuse, and no signs of plastic surgery on her nose and lips. Suyu had been in the entertainment company for many years and was very sensitive to such things. Some women had slimming injections, nose injections, or forehead fillings. He could tell at a glance. However, the woman in front of him was indeed Huomian. Her eyes were the same, her voice was the same, everything was the same. Suyu, answer me first. Suyu hesitated for a moment. Wasn't this what he wanted? But now that it was his turn to answer, he couldn't. Did you forget about me a long time ago? Don't you love me anymore? Or do you dislike me because I'm divorced and have 2 children? Huomin's eyes turned red at this moment. She looked like she was about to cry. Suyu's heart ached. Meow, don't cry. I've always loved you, but I can't break up your family. I can't let Qin Shu, Pudding, and Little Bean down. Suyu knew that it was impossible in this lifetime. Even if he didn't care about anything and was with Huomin, the burden was too heavy. That was built on other people's pain. What would Qin Shu do? What would happen if the 2 children he had always loved lost their mother? How would they face rumors in the future? Therefore, even though Suyu had a fever, he still wouldn't do such a bastard thing or say such a bastard thing. Suyu, what if I created an illusion that I'm already dead? From now on, the 2 of us will live in the depths of the mountain and never go out for the rest of our lives. Let everyone think that we are dead. That way, we could be together forever, okay? Mian, why did you do this? Suyu looked at her. Because I owe you too much. I can't pay you back in this lifetime, but I don't know if there will be a next life. Before Suyu could speak, the woman in front of him spoke again. Even if there really is a next life, I'm afraid that you'll forget about me. At this point, Huomin teared up. Suyu's heart ached. He raised his hand to wipe away her tears, but before he could touch her, he stopped. He lost consciousness in an instant. The woman in front of him had a pair of electric gloves on her hands. While Suyu wasn't paying attention, she electrocuted him and knocked him out. Then when he wakes up, he would think that everything was a dream, right? The woman stood up with a smile, the corners of her lips curling up slightly. She picked up the golden mask in her hand and put it back on her face. Then she walked out of the cabin. Jack heard the sound and quickly turned around. How was it? Did he believe you? Of course, even Huasiqian believed me. Why wouldn't he? The woman smiled proudly. She had already expected that she would be able to fool Suyu and successfully fool Huasiqian. You're amazing, young madam. You even managed to fool someone who's been with Huomin for years, Jack flattered. Actually, what I'm looking forward to the most is whether or not I can fool the man who has been sleeping with her for years. Qin Shu. Jack's eyelids twitched as he guessed the woman's words. Chapter 4005. When she received Zhao Qingyao's call that night, Huomin calmly agreed. Because of the secrecy of this matter, Huomin and Qin Shu didn't let anyone know, because this matter had already exceeded the scope of what his good friends could help with. Qin Shu and Huomin agreed to put on a number of GPS devices for Huomin. Then Huomin carried a black backpack. She took some things that she thought would be useful. Zhao Qingyao asked her to wait at a cliff behind South Hill Manor at 10 o'clock in the evening. Someone would pick her up in a helicopter. Huomin found a long black cotton-padded jacket that she felt most comfortable. However, her belly was still very obvious, and it was inconvenient for her to walk. Qin Shu specially found a pair of non-slip shoes for her. He also brought her a scarf, gloves, and a hat in case she was cold. Honey, yes? I'll come back alive, Huomin admitted again. Yes, I must bring Suyu back safely. Yes. After Huomin said that, she hugged Qin Shu's neck tightly, as if she couldn't bear to let go. Honey, if I don't come back, you'll definitely come back. Let's not talk about anything else. Qin Shu knew what Huomin wanted to say, so he immediately dismissed her idea. Qin Shu couldn't bear to hear such inauspicious and emotional words. He never thought about what would happen if Huomin died one day, because in his mind, Huomin would never die. Never. Okay, I won't talk about it. After packing up, Huomin and Qin Shu walked out of the bedroom. I want to see Pudding and Little Bean. Qin Shu did not say anything, but his mood was not quite right. He walked in front and pushed open the door to the children's bedroom. Huomian tiptoed into the room. The 2 kids were exhausted. They were all sound asleep. Huomin wanted to kiss them, but he was afraid of waking them up. In the end, he just quietly stared at the two of them for a while. Then, he took out his phone and secretly took a photo before reluctantly leaving. In front of the door, "Hubby, I'll walk the rest of the way alone. Mian, be careful. Dad and I will find you based on your location. No matter where you are, don't provoke them. They probably have a purpose. Agree to whatever conditions they have. You're pregnant, so you must take care of yourself." Qin Shu gave a final warning. "I know, hubby. You can go back." Huamin turned around to open the door. Then, she stopped in her tracks, turned around abruptly, and fiercely kissed Qin Shu on the lips. Without waiting for Qin Shu to react, she quickly pulled out of his embrace and left. The moment Huamin closed the door, Qin Shu suddenly burst into tears. He had been suppressing his tears for a long time, but he didn't want her to see it. If she left, he would feel uneasy. He had to save Suyu. No one could change that. Qin Shu couldn't and wouldn't stop him. He only wanted to cooperate with his father-in-law and Liu Yin to get rid of all the conspiracy theorists in one fell swoop. As long as he could bring back Huamin and Suyu safely, everything would be fine. Qin Shu stood at the door and watched Huamin walk away. When Huamin disappeared, he suddenly felt that Huamin was extremely beautiful at that moment. His wife would always be the most beautiful woman in the world in his heart. "Chu, why are you standing here?" Qin Shu's mother heard his voice and got up to walk downstairs. "Oh, nothing. Your dad also asked me to ask you if you've booked the wedding banquet. Some of our old friends are coming. Prepare a few more tables for us," Mrs. Qin instructed. Hearing the word wedding, Qin Shu seemed to be even sadder. "I got it, Mom." He lowered his head and went upstairs. Half an hour after Huamin left, Qin Shu received a call from Rick in the States. "Chu, listen to me. This is very serious. I found some clues. Mr. Y is just a small fry. The person behind him is very dangerous. You and Huamin can't act rashly. Lian will be back soon. I suggest you talk to her about this." "It's too late. She's already gone." Qin Shu seemed to have expected that things wouldn't be as simple as they seemed. So when he answered Rick, his voice was full of despair. He seemed to know that if he was careless this time, his Mian would never come back. Chapter 4006. After Huamin left, Qin Shu couldn't fall asleep for the entire night. Yes, he couldn't fall asleep at all because he didn't know what kind of danger his wife would face. Although they had done almost everything they could think of, they were still worried that there might be other variables. After his father cracked the code, there was no news from him. But he said that she was back. Qin Shu was also confused. If it was someone that even the professor was afraid of, then it must be a very scary person. They stayed like this until dawn. Little Bean and Pudding woke up in a daze, and Little Bean walked over barefoot. She pushed open the bedroom door and said, "Daddy, I want to wear the dress that Auntie Qining bought for me, but Grandma can't find it. Can you ask Mommy where she put it?" Little Bean didn't know that her mommy wasn't home, so she stood in front of the bedroom door in a daze. Qin Shu quickly got up and carried Little Bean, who was standing barefoot on the floor. "Mommy isn't home. Daddy will help you find it." "Huh? It's so early. Mommy isn't home. Where did she go?" "She went to help the company with something," Qin Shu said perfunctorily. "So early? You're so hardworking. Daddy, help me find it. It's the red and white dress with the KT cat." Little Bean sat in her daddy's arms and continued to look for the dress. Qin Shu didn't say anything and took Little Bean back to the bedroom to look for it. When they went in, Pudding had already put on her first outfit. Pudding was dressed simply in a snow-white sweater and slightly thick leggings. "Sis, do you want to wear the KT cat with me?" "No, it's childish." After saying this, Pudding held her phone and went downstairs to eat. Although the sisters were twins, Pudding's taste had improved recently, while Little Bean's taste was still stuck in cartoons. So, naturally, there was a difference of opinion. Qin Shu spent a lot of effort to find the dress that Little Bean wanted from the bottom of the box. Then, he helped his daughter put it on. "Thank you, comrade old Qin. You are really a qualified father. I love you." After Little Bean got what she wanted, she kissed Qin Shu on the cheek and quickly went downstairs to eat. "Mom, you don't have to send the kids to school today. You don't have to do that for the next few days. Just stay at home and play," Qin Shu said before leaving the house. "What's wrong? This is..." Qin Shu's mother was puzzled. It's nothing. It's winter and the flu is coming. There are a lot of viral colds in the school. I'm afraid that the two of them will be infected. Qin Shu made up an excuse, but it was enough to convince everyone. Daddy is so smart. Little Bean, who didn't like going to school, gave him a thumbs up. Daddy, I'm bored at home. Why don't I go to the company with you? Pudding had always been interested in business, so she wanted to go to work with her father. The company is a little busy these few days. Let's wait for a while. You guys can rest at home first. Without saying a word, Qin Shu left the house with his briefcase. Daddy's mood is a little strange today. Did you quarrel with Mommy? Pudding felt that something was wrong. No way. Mommy is on a business trip. How could they quarrel? Business trip? Pudding frowned slightly. Yeah. Daddy said that Mommy left early in the morning because she had something urgent to deal with. Little Bean said matter-of-factly. Pudding was not very happy and analyzed. Mommy is about to give birth. How urgent could it be that she has to deal with a pregnant woman? Huh, sister, you have a point. Little Bean suddenly realized. Grandma, do you know that Mommy is on a business trip? Pudding was not in the mood to eat breakfast. She looked up and asked her grandma. Chapter 4007. Mrs. Qin carefully recalled what happened last night. Last night, I saw your daddy sending someone to the door. I think that's when your mommy left. Did something happen at Grandma's house? Pudding guessed. Don't make wild guesses, you two. I trust your daddy. If he can let your mommy go, she'll be fine. Pudding thought that her grandpa had a point. Her dad had always been reliable and loved her mommy more than anyone else. He probably wouldn't let her take the risk, right? 9 a.m. Qin Shu summoned a group of people to his office and prepared to announce the truth of the matter. After all, Huamin had already done what Zhao Qingya asked, so he didn't care if others knew. Qin Shu only mentioned two important points. First, Suyu was indeed kidnapped by Zhao Qingya, but his life was not in danger. Second, Zhao Qingya asked Huamin to save him by himself, and Huamin went. Everyone was shocked by what they heard Gao Ran. I was wondering why you asked me to investigate Zhao Qingya. So, she's the mastermind? Qin Shu. She's not the mastermind. There's someone more powerful behind the scenes. Tang Chuan. Damn, this woman must be crazy. She's not dead yet. I thought she died in prison. Oh no, if it were her, Lord Su would be dead. Her sister died in Lord Su's house, and she was in prison for so long. She must be full of resentment. Wei Liao, do you know where they are right now? Qin Shu. I don't think they're there yet. I put multiple trackers on Mian. We'll only know their exact location when we get there. Jiang Xiaowei. Mian's an idiot. Why didn't she tell us? The more people there are, the better. Why is she alone? Qin Shu. Zhao Qingya has high-level hackers who can even monitor my conversation with Mian. She probably has spies here too. That's why she didn't dare to contact you guys. She was afraid that Suyu would be in danger. I investigated Zhao Qingya in the States and angered her. In the video she sent me, Suyu was shot twice. That's a warning. Tang Chuan, what? Shot. Tang Chuan was scared out of his wits. Everyone else was also very nervous when they heard that Huan Mian was shot. Qin Shu. It's all around her collarbone. Her life isn't in danger, so she's fine. I think Zhao Qingya was just warning her. Wei Liao. This woman must be crazy, but isn't that even more dangerous? Them. Wei Liao was referring to, of course, Huamin and Suyu. The strange thing was everyone was expressing their opinions. Qining was also very anxious. However, Zhu Lingling, Huamin's best friend, kept her head down and didn't say anything. Lingling, what's wrong? Gao Ran noticed that Zhu Lingling was a bit off and patted her shoulder. Zhu Lingling immediately exploded. Qin Shu, how could you let Mian go alone? She's pregnant and about to give birth. How could you let her go alone? Zhu Lingling's cries were heart-wrenching and her accusations were so loud that everyone was shocked. Qin Shu slowly lowered his head. After a long while, he finally said, "We owe the Su family a lot, especially Mian. She's always remembered this kindness. She said countless times that no matter what difficulties Suyu faced, she would be willing to go through fire and water for him. Now that Suyu is kidnapped, she's a coward because of the baby in her belly. If Suyu dies because of this, she'll live in guilt for the rest of her life. She'd rather die than live that way. I don't want that, and neither does Mian. After Qin Chu said this, everyone fell silent. Huomin's promises were never just empty words. She was indebted to the Su family. Now, she was afraid of death and was hiding. That was never her. Have you thought about what would happen if she didn't come back? Mian and the baby would die together. Zhu Lingling questioned Qin Chu in a choked voice. Lingling, that's enough. Gao Ren couldn't listen anymore. At this time, saying these things would only make Qin Chu feel worse. In this world, no one cared about Huomin more than Qin Chu. No one. Chapter 4008. Lingling, the most important thing right now is to think of a way to save them. Nothing else matters. Jiang Xiaowei also comforted Zhu Lingling. Chu, didn't you set up a tracker? Give me a location and I'll send people over. Gao Ran was very good at mobilizing people. I don't want the police to come out this time, Qin Chu said in a low voice. The police are too obvious a target. They might alert the enemy, Wei Liao said. I can send plainclothes officers. As long as we confirm the location, I can also contact the local police to help us. This is a kidnapping, a very bad case. Su Yu's identity is special. Even the military can help, Gao Ran added. The military can't do it either. It'll cause too much of a commotion. Didn't my brother and Rick say that these people are very powerful? We can't treat them as ordinary kidnappers. More people might not be a good thing. They might even make things worse. Qi Ning understood her brother's words, so she patiently explained to everyone. Qin Chu, can you set a location now? Let me see where Mian is. Jiang Xiaowei was the woman with the highest IQ other than Huomin. I'll try. Qin Chu turned on his computer and entered a string of codes. Then he saw a little red dot moving towards the south at a very fast speed. Mian is still moving at high speed. Judging by her speed, she must still be on the plane. She hasn't stopped, so we can't be sure where she's going. Qin Chu looked at the map on his laptop with a heavy heart. Qin Chu, I suggest you go talk to Lord Su and see if the military has a way to accurately locate her with radar. I've already asked Lord Su to meet me at the mansion in 2 hours. Qin Chu and Jiang Xiaowei thought of the same thing. No one dared to give any more suggestions in case they caused more trouble. During this time, Qin Chu and Rick talked on the phone again. Shaon sat at the side and listened. He didn't have a chance to interrupt because he knew he couldn't do anything. However, when he heard the content of Qin Chu's call, he was a little excited because it involved Lu Yan. After hanging up the phone, Qin Chu's expression seemed to relax a little. I have good news. Lu Yan will be here at midnight. Everyone was shocked, except for those who didn't know Lu Yan's real identity, and was so excited that he almost cried. Great! With Lu Yan here, President Su and Huomin can be saved. He admired Lu Yan so much that he was obsessed with her. With Lu Yan, it'll be fine. We can handle everything. Gao Ran didn't know how powerful Lu Yan was, but judging from Qin Chu's tone, Huomian's sister seemed to have a powerful background. After the meeting, everyone left. Qin Chu drove to visit the Su family alone. Of course, she had to tell Grandpa Su, Father Su, and Mother Su everything without hiding anything. Except for Huomin's father and sister, he told everyone the truth. At this moment, Huomin was on a private plane. The environment was very good, and the air conditioner was very warm. Other than the captain and the attendants, there were 8 men in black on the plane. They were all wearing masks, but judging from their figures and skin color, they were undoubtedly foreigners. Huomin thought that Zhao Qingyao was really capable. Before she went to prison, she didn't have such a smart brain and meticulous plan. Do you want something to eat? A man wearing a mask walked over and asked in perfect English. Chapter 4009. Bread and water are fine. Thank you. Huomin answered in fluent English. Soon, bread and water were served. Huomin wasn't in a hurry to eat. She took out the knife and fork she carried with her. Of course, this wasn't an ordinary knife and fork. This was a knife and fork that had been soaked in her own special concoction. It would recognize any drug ingredients left on the food. In other words, if someone had tampered with the food, even if it was just a little bit, even if it was colorless and odorless, she would still test it out. This was just like how in TV dramas, some chivalrous people like to test for poison with silver hairpins. Huamin seemed to be cutting the bread with a knife and fork, but she was actually testing it out. She wanted to see if the food was clean. Now, she had to be careful with every step. After all, she was pregnant. Huamian's spoon stirred the water in the cup. Those people thought that she just felt that the water was too hot and wanted to stir it to cool it down. However, only Huamin knew the meaning of this. In the surveillance footage, Huamin's face was displayed in high definition. The woman sitting in the chair had a smile in her eyes. Look, she's so smart. She's afraid that the food will be tampered with. She even knows to bring her own food, just like her father. Master, I think Miss Mian is more like you in terms of intelligence. An older maid was wearing a gypsy outfit. It was a white floral robe that covered her head, making her look like a witch. The woman sitting in the golden chair was wearing a white crystal mask. Although only her face could be seen, she was extremely stunning. It was as if one would be intoxicated just by looking at her. Do you think she's better than Layla? The woman in the crystal mask asked coquettishly. This, I really don't dare say. The maid lowered her head. Then let these children compete. Young people are always young and energetic. The woman smiled. She looked very beautiful when she smiled. Master, are you planning to meet the professor? I'll meet him when it's time. The woman looked at Huamin on the screen, who was slowly eating bread and drinking water with his head lowered. As an ordinary person, Huamin was already outstanding. However, compared to Layla, it was really hard to say. Inside the forest, the golden-masked woman never took off her mask again. She and Jack were having fun in the off-road house. His voice was so loud that the people around him blushed. Zhao Qingyao was quite displeased. She didn't like this woman very much because she always felt that this woman didn't treat them as human beings. At dinner, Mr. Y personally went to invite the masked girl and Jack to the main building. The table was filled to the brim with food, dazzling the eyes. Young master, I heard that you like to eat cobra meat. There are many of these snakes here. Why don't you try it and see if it's to your liking? Mr. Y flattered. The masked woman leaned on Jack's shoulder and smiled. I like to eat king cobras, not cobras. Then I'll order people to look for it immediately. However, this is in India. I'm afraid it won't be easy to find this kind of snake, Mr. Y added. If you can't find it, then go die. The woman's smile was cold, which terrified Mr. Y instantly. At this moment, a lackey accidentally spilled some soup on the masked woman's skirt when he was serving the dishes. He was so frightened that he immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. Young master, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get up first. The woman waved her hand, her tone extremely gentle. However, Jack smelled a trace of blood. He was afraid that this demon was about to reveal her true form again. Sure enough, before the lackey could stand up straight, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. There was a scream. After Zhao Qingyao saw clearly, her heart almost jumped out of her chest. Even Jack and Mr. Y almost vomited on the spot. The masked woman twisted the man's head off easily, and blood splattered all over the ground. Then, she weighed the head in her hand. One idiot. Oh, do you like steamed or braised? She held the head and asked everyone with a smile. Chapter 40:10. No one dared to say anything. The masked girl threw the head into Zhao Qingyao's arms. The force was so strong that it almost knocked her down. It's for you. Eat the head to beautify yourself. The masked girl smiled. Zhao Qingyao was so scared that she threw the head to the ground and screamed with her hands covering her mouth. She looked terrified. She had never seen such a scene before. Mr. Y was a pervert, but he only smoked and played with women. The one in front of her was disgusting. She was so perverted that it was beyond her imagination. Ignoring Zhao Qingyao's craziness, the masked girl sat down. Let's eat. Then, she picked up her chopsticks and started eating with relish. Jack, who was on the side, watched her eat and didn't dare to say a word. He ate quietly, and Mr. Y didn't dare to fart. He had always communicated with this young master by phone or video call. He didn't know that she was so bloody and cruel. He felt like he was walking on thin ice every moment. "Will Huamin arrive today?" the masked girl asked as she ate. "Yes, young master. If there are no accidents, they will arrive here in 3 hours." "Yes, very good." The woman nodded. She had tried to capture Huamian a few times, but she was stopped every time. Now that she had captured him seriously, it was impossible for him to escape. They all said that Huamin was a genius. She really wanted to see what a genius was like. Will he be better than her? At the door of Su Yu's mansion, and was surprised that Han Yueyao found him here. So, he was surprised when he opened the door. "Miss Han, why are you here? And is President Su back?" Hearing her question, and immediately replied, "Not yet. He's still busy out of town." Then why didn't he reply to any WeChat messages? It's not his style. Oh, it's an emergency. It's not convenient for him to use his cell phone. I see. Okay, I just passed by a supermarket. It's a good deal. I bought some vegetables, fruits, and meat for you. Han Yueyao handed the food bag to him. "No, we don't cook for ourselves. Basically, President Su and I eat in the company cafeteria, takeout, or outside. That's not clean. Aren't you afraid of gutter oil? Ha, take it. If you don't know how to do it, you can call me." With a shy smile, she turned and ran away, and sighed slightly. This was another woman who had fallen for President Su. Back then, Zheng Ro was also like this. She stayed at home to buy things, cook, and wash dishes. But in the end, and understood that the person in President Su's heart was irreplaceable. Although he thought Han Yueyao was a nice girl who was clean, straightforward, and most importantly, likable, he didn't want to offend her. However, everything depended on Su Yu. The most important thing now was for Su Yu to come back safely. After secretly visiting the Su family, Qin Chu returned to the company. No one knew what he and Lord Su were plotting. No one asked because they all knew that Qin Chu had always been reliable. Lu Yin arrived in the middle of the night and had volunteered to pick her up from the airport. But he was slightly disappointed when he heard that Lu Yin was on her private jet. Qin Chu could tell that he liked Lu Yin, so he invited him to meet him at a suburban hot spring hotel owned by GK in the middle of the night. On the way here, and didn't forget to buy a roasted sweet potato and put it in his arms, afraid that it would get cold. It was 12:35 a.m. Lu Yin took a private jet and then a helicopter to the rendezvous point. She was wearing a black windbreaker that shone in the middle of the night. She flew down from the helicopter, her movements extremely nimble. When Xiao saw that figure, he was extremely excited. Chapter 40:11. Qin Chu and hurried over. "Brother-in-law," Lu Yin said. She glanced at him and nodded without a word. "It's cold outside. Let's talk inside." Qin Chu took Lu Yin to the hot spring hotel. This time, only 2 people came with Lu Yin. They were both Chinese and didn't look like ordinary people. In the small conference room of the hot spring hotel, the 3 of them sat down. Before he could speak, Lu Yin took out a small device and pressed the switch. Then she said, "You can talk now," and guessed that it was an anti-tracking device. "Your sister has been taken away by those people. I took a look at their sighting location. It's the center of a certain primitive forest in Yunnan. There's no specific name or map on the map because that place hasn't been developed yet. Usually, it's not used by outsiders. That's more difficult. It's like those bastards," Lu Yin said coldly. "This is the information Rick sent back from the States. It's about Mr. Y." Qin Chu handed it to Lu Yin and was about to show it to her. To his surprise, Lu Yin shook her head. "Brother-in-law, I have all the information on Rick. Rick can't find out what I can find, so I know who these people are." "You know everything." Qin Chu wasn't surprised since Lu Yin had always been well informed. Lu Yin nodded. "After working with Rick, I plan to go to the Golden Triangle. That bastard Xiao Nan is ready to make a big move. But after hearing about my sister, I immediately came back. The people behind Mr. Y are indeed not simple wolves and tigers. I finally understand why Ian and Nalo have been so quiet recently and haven't attacked me or my sister. I thought they didn't want the things in Dad's hands. But now it seems that's not the case." Qin Chu understood what she meant and said, They don't dare to make a move because they know these people are involved. Yes, that bastard Ian looks fierce, but he's actually a coward. There's only one reason why he doesn't dare to make a move, and that's because we've been targeted by a more powerful enemy. Doomsday Reaper. Qin Chu said only 4 words, and was dumbfounded by what he heard. Doomsday Reaper? Was there really such an organization? I always thought it was made up. Rumor has it that their methods are extremely violent and cruel. Even terrorists have to avoid them. It's said that the places they go are like purgatory on Earth. Shaun had also heard people talk about it before when they were bragging. However, he had always thought that this was a legendary organization that did not exist. But today, after hearing Qin Chu talk about it with Lu Yin, and felt it wasn't as simple as it seemed. Yin, how much do you know about this organization? Qin Chu placed his hope on Lu Yin. Hearing this, Lu Yin's expression turned grim. 5 seconds later, she slowly replied, "Brother-in-law, I know nothing about this organization." Qin Chu's heart sank. Even Lu Yin didn't know much about this organization, let alone others. Queen Smoke, have you never fought with them before? Shaun asked. Never. In the past few years, all the organizations that could fight with them were basically wiped out. Not a single one of them survived. My understanding of them is the same as yours. It's just a rumor. That's troublesome. I began to worry. If Zhao Qingya was a member of Doomsday Reaper, then President Su was doomed. Brother-in-law, how much do you know about them? Lu Yin asked Qin Chu. Qin Chu slowly took out a lighter from his pocket, and Lu Yin were both shocked by the pattern on the lighter. Chapter 40:12. You have a token from them? Lu Yin stared at the lighter in astonishment. The Doomsday Death God was a mysterious organization. They weren't as high-profile as Ian and the other terrorists. They didn't carry out missions as frequently as Lu Yin, but everyone was afraid of offending them. Yeah. Qin Chu nodded and didn't say anything else. Then, Shaun stood up and said, "I'll go get you some water." He knew Qin Chu and Lu Yin might not be able to trust him, but he knew he couldn't be trusted. With him around, it wasn't appropriate for the two of them to talk, so he found an excuse to sneak out. Qin Chu slowly told Lu Yin about the past. Qin Chu didn't think much about it at the time, but now it seemed that this matter was related. Perhaps these people had already started plotting against them back then. Qin Chu held the lighter and said to Lu Yin, "I heard about the rumors about the Doomsday Death God in the U.S., and Rick's family also knew a little about it. So later, when Ian came to our city and even went to see Mion, I used this lighter to test Ian. From his terrified expression, I was sure that this lighter was authentic and was made by the Doomsday Death God." Brother-in-law, where did you get this lighter? Lu Yin's expression was unprecedentedly serious. Yes, even a desperado like her didn't want to have anything to do with that organization, because it was an organization that couldn't be more perverted and disgusting. It was beyond what humans could bear. Qin Chu's thoughts went back to 4 years ago. At that time, he was in a bad mood in the U.S. After being tricked by Hua Xiqian, he didn't know whether he was dead or alive. He didn't return to China because of his leg injury. Most of the time, Qin Chu stayed in his room alone. Looking into the distance, he thought about Huamin and his children. Later, seeing that he was too bored, Qin Ning suggested taking her brother to a party. At first, Qin Chu refused, but later he found out that this party wasn't that simple. At that time, Qin Ning had a best friend in the United States who was a rich second-generation heir. The people she invited to the party she organized were all famous and influential people. Then, Qin Chu saw Rafis, the South American drug lord, on the invitation list. Therefore, he felt that this party was not safe. In order to protect Qin Ning, he followed her as her personal bodyguard. It was also because of that incident that Qin Chu saw a young woman wearing a mask in the back garden of the owner's house. It seemed that he was drunk or had been fed something. In short, her footsteps were disorderly and her expression was abnormal. But he was surrounded by a group of black ghosts. Qin Chu held his wine glass and looked down. Those people were tearing the woman's clothes apart. Meddling in other people's business was never Qin Chu's style. He must have pretended not to see it and turned to leave. But that woman just had to look at him with a longing gaze, although they were separated by a mask and not very close. Qin Shu still felt that the woman's eyes were very similar to Huamin's. Or it could be said that she looked like Huamin for a moment. Therefore, Qin Shu jumped down and took down all the black people. The woman stood up shakily, as if she wanted to give Qin Shu a hug. Qin Shu wanted to avoid it. He never had physical contact with any woman other than Huamin. This was a habit for many years. At that time, the woman smiled and said, "Can I borrow a fire?" Chapter 40:13. Surprised, Qin Shu took out a lighter from his pocket and handed it to the woman. After that, they no longer interacted with each other. It was a normal thing, but Qin Shu was surprised when he came home that night. He found that his lighter was missing. He had used it when he was in high school. It was his birthday, and Huamian spent the weekend handing out flyers to save up money to buy him a famous brand. It had a picture of a cute dolphin, which was Huamin's favorite animal. Qin Shu had used it for many years, but he didn't want to throw it away, even though he had changed the flint several times. So, when he lost his lighter, he was very angry. Then, he found that there was a lighter in his pocket with a skull totem on it. At first, he didn't know what it was. Then, Rick saw it and said it looked familiar. They checked it and found that it was the symbol of the Doomsday Reaper. At that time, Rick joked that the woman Qin Shu saved that night was a crazy fan of the Doomsday Reaper. Maybe she was addicted to it and made a fake one. But Qin Shu didn't think it was that simple. The weirdest thing was that he didn't even know when it was switched. Furthermore, how fast would a personal item have to be in order for it to be swapped out without anyone noticing? So, Qin Shu didn't throw away the lighter in the past few years. When Ian came, he was also testing him. As expected, Ian's expression reflected the truth of this matter. Qin Shu had never told anyone about it. If he didn't find out about this mysterious organization, he would have never told anyone. After all, he was sad that he lost the lighter Huamin gave him. Qin Shu didn't want to tell anyone about it. After telling him about it, Lu Yin fell silent. After a while, she looked up at Qin Shu and said slowly, "Brother-in-law, I think that woman got close to you with a purpose. That's why she kept this." "Yeah, I think so too." "Then, do you still remember the specific details?" "I don't remember. I just remember that her eyes were very similar to Mion's." Qin Shu carefully recalled that night a few years ago. His memory was a little fuzzy. But what was certain was that if that woman's eyes didn't look like Huamin's, he wouldn't have saved her. It seems this is a trap. Lu Yin felt a headache coming on, not to mention that it involved the Muri Reaper. The key problem was that they didn't know what those people would do next. This was an opponent who didn't know the situation at all. How could they fight this battle? Could it be related to the thing in the professor's hands? Qin Shu asked. It's also possible. Right now, everything is unknown, so it's hard to say. "Brother-in-law, give me the location of my sister. I'll go and save her." Lu Yin was worried about Huamin, who was about to give birth. Therefore, he couldn't wait any longer. "Yin, if this is a trap, you might fall into their trap if you go. Maybe they're after you and me on. Even so, I can't care so much. No matter what, I can't watch my sister stay there forever. How about this? We'll set off in a while and split up. I've already designed the map. We'll enter from 2 entrances in the forest. It should distract them. Okay, I'll go and prepare the plane." Lu Yin stood up with a serious expression and turned to leave. As soon as she walked out, and immediately went up to her with a shy look on his face. "Queen Yin, your sweet potato," and carefully took out the hot roasted sweet potato from his arms. Chapter 40:14. Lu Yan's attention was on her sister, Huamin, and she didn't have time to think about the food and brought her. Turning her watch, she waved her hand with her index finger to show that she didn't want to eat. Just like that, Shaolin was completely ignored just like that. He put the roasted sweet potato carefully in his pocket, afraid that Lu Yin would ask him for more if she got hungry. Anne's gesture was heartwarming, but to Lu Yin, it was just a drop in the bucket and couldn't solve the problem at all. Qin Shu's mind was in a mess. He had been in a mess ever since he left at the Sky Blessing Court. Jixin slept well and slept soundly no matter what sounds he heard at night. But Bella couldn't. She was a light sleeper, and with Huamin and Qin Chu's instructions, she had to be more careful. In the middle of the night, she was awakened by strange sounds. Wearing pajamas, Bella walked downstairs with a flashlight on her cell phone. Downstairs was Yang Meiyerong and Jingda's room. The moment Bella went downstairs, she ran into Yang Meiyerong, who was coming out of the door. "Mom, why are you also? Did you also hear strange sounds?" Yang Meiyerong looked at Bella in horror. Bella nodded, feeling scared. "Mom, what's that sound? I don't know. It seems to be in the kitchen." Yang Meiyerong and Bella walked toward the kitchen cautiously. Before they reached the door, they heard a cold voice behind them. "What are you doing?" They looked back at the same time, and Yang Meiyerong saw Jingda walk out of the bedroom. His face was gloomy, and his eyes were gloomy. "Duh, didn't you hear strange sounds? Are you talking about the birds I bought during the day?" "Birds?" Yang Meiyerong was surprised. "Yes, I went to the bird market during the day and bought some birds. I plan to give them to Pudding and Lil Bean." Jingda's face was dark, and his voice was cold, showing no kindness. "I see. That must be the birds. I thought a thief broke into the house." Obviously, Yang Meiyerong believed Jingda and didn't go near the kitchen. Bella had no choice but to turn around and head upstairs. "Bella, go to bed. You and Jixin have to go to work tomorrow," Yang Meiyerong reminded her daughter-in-law. "Okay, then you should rest early too, Mom." When Bella went upstairs, she didn't forget to look back at the kitchen. It was a strange feeling. She didn't think that it was the sound of a little bird. Instead, she felt that the sound was very mournful. However, since her mother-in-law believed that person's words, what else could she say? It seemed that Sister Mian and President Qin were right. There was something wrong with this guy, so it was better to keep an eye on him. Yang Meiyerong and Jingda went back to their bedroom and fell asleep again. At 2 in the morning, Jingda quietly walked to the kitchen again. No one saw what he did. But when he came out, there was blood at the corner of his mouth, and there was a strange smile in his eyes. On the other hand, after Huamin arrived at the destination by helicopter, he was driven by an off-road vehicle for a long distance on the mountain road. The journey was bumpy. She carefully protected her belly, afraid that the baby would not be used to it. Finally, the off-road vehicle slowly entered the bamboo buildings. It stopped in an open space where Zhao Qingya had been waiting for a long time. Today, she wore a long red dress to provoke him or something else. She was dressed in a flamboyant and coquettish style. The car door opened, and Huamin walked out slowly. Zhao Qingya smiled smugly. "Whoa, look who's here. TSK, TSK. Isn't this our genius doctor?" Chapter 40:15. Huamin got out of the car with a small bag in her hand. Although her figure was bloated, she didn't have any makeup on her face. Visually, she wasn't as gorgeous as Zhao Qingya, but Huamin's aura didn't lose to anyone. After getting out of the car, she looked around. Then, she looked at Zhao Qingya and replied with disdain, "Superstar Zhao, it's been a while." "Yeah, Huamin, it's been a long time since we've seen each other." Zhao Qingya blamed everything that happened to her today on Suyu and Huamin. She thought that it was the two of them who caused the situation, so the moment she saw Huamin, she was ready to make a move. She seemed to be the kind of person who thought, "You're finally in my territory. I can torture you to death." "Where's Suyu?" Huamin didn't want to waste time with this brainless woman, so she asked Suyu directly. Haha, you're very concerned about him. Why do you want to see him so much?" Huamin didn't say anything. She knew from Zhao Qingya's smug look that she wouldn't let her see Suyu easily. Sure enough, Zhao Qingya held a fan made of banana leaves in her hand and waved it back and forth. "You want to see Suyu?" "Sure. He's a great doctor, a great director, and a peerless genius. You have to crawl under my crotch first. Then I'll consider letting you see your wild man." Huamian burst into laughter upon hearing this. "What are you laughing at?" Huamin's smile made Zhao Qingya's hair stand on end. She knew that this woman had a lot of ideas and was afraid that she would make a mistake. "I'm laughing. Woman, have you watched too many anti-Japanese dramas? You even want me to crawl under your crotch. Aren't you afraid that your life will be shortened? Can you afford it?" "Huamin, can't you see the situation you're in? You're in my territory. Even if I cut off your flesh piece by piece, you won't be able to fight back. Do you know what it means to walk right into a trap? Zhao Qingyao tried to regain some of her momentum, so her voice became louder. He pointed at Huamin's nose and almost scolded him. Stop pretending, Zhao Qingyao. You're not the owner of this place. You're just an errand boy. Your boss is still hiding behind the scenes, right? Does he still not want to see me? Zhao Qingyao's expression changed drastically after hearing this. Huamin's observation skills were indeed top-notch. Zhao Qingyao was also embarrassed that she was able to discover all of this. She had wanted to pretend to be the big sister and the mistress of the house, but now she had been exposed. What should she do? While the two were confronting each other, in the westernmost bamboo building, the golden-masked woman, wearing a bathrobe, leaned on the sofa and watched the surveillance screen. Jack stood behind her with a glass of red wine in his hand. So that's all there is to a genius. I don't think she's any different from an ordinary person, the masked woman said. Huamin is an ordinary person. Geniuses and whatnot are all hype. Only those two idiots, Qin Chu and Su Yu, would think that woman is a rare treasure. In my eyes, she's just a bitch. Jack smiled viciously. Oh, you make it sound like you don't have any feelings for her. Didn't you want to sleep with her before? I did it on purpose. I wanted to ruin her relationship with Qin Chu and destroy Hua Xiqian's image of the goddess. But you didn't succeed in the end, right? The woman smiled. So, young madam, are you mocking me? Jack leaned over and licked the woman's neck gently with his tongue. Chapter 40:16. The masked woman laughed lewdly and turned around to wrap her arms around Jack's neck. Laugh at you? No, I can't bear to. After all, you've brought me so much joy. Layla wasn't in a hurry to meet Huamin. Instead, she let Zhao Qingyao taunt Huamin. Zhao Qingyao was simple-minded, and Huamin knew her temper. Therefore, Zhao Qingyao didn't try to take advantage of her during the confrontation. Therefore, she was a little angry. Do you really think I don't dare to touch you, Huamin? You think too highly of yourself. With that, Zhao Qingyao walked over and was about to slap Huamin's face. Stop! Hearing the voice, Zhao Qingyao stopped her slap. She turned her head and saw Mr. Y walking out without her noticing. Honey, can't I teach my enemy a lesson? Zhao Qingyao began to act coquettishly, ignoring the others. Don't worry about revenge. She won't be able to run away even if she comes. Young master wants her to see Su Yu first. After all, Su Yu is dying. Hearing this, Huamin's face turned pale. What did you do to him? She frowned. He's dying. Can't you hear me? You bitch. It's because you didn't keep your promise and investigated us that Su Yu was shot. Didn't you see it in the video? You don't think we photoshopped it, do you? Hee hee. It's real. Now, the 2 bullets in Su Yu's body are about to rot and follow him. Where is he? Huamin's voice trembled with anger. She couldn't wait to see Su Yu. If anything happened to Su Yu, she swore that she would blow this place to the ground. Even if it cost her and her son's lives, she wouldn't hesitate. Men, bring her over to the cabin. Mr. Y ordered his men to take Huamin away and head to Su Yu's room. Zhao Qingyao, on the other hand, was unwilling to give up. She grumbled, Seriously, I could have taught that bitch Huamin a lesson. Why'd I let her go so easily? Didn't I prepare for so long for nothing? I don't know if I'll have another chance in the future. I'm really upset. A woman's nagging was terrible, even if she didn't realize it herself. But in the eyes of others, it was already extremely annoying. Shut the fuck up. Mr. Y was losing patience with Zhao Qingyao. In the past, their attitudes had been slightly better, and the two of them could still play together occasionally. They would smoke together and seek excitement and bliss together. Mr. Y had been getting more and more irritable ever since the plan to return to China began. It was fine if he punched and kicked her for no reason. Now that she didn't even have the right to touch Huamin, her life as a woman would be extremely sullen. Darling, don't you love me anymore? Zhao Qingyao saw that Mr. Y was angry and quickly begged for mercy. You idiot, why don't you look at the timing? With young master here, we'll die at any moment. Don't you remember what happened to that man last night? Zhao Qingyao still had lingering fears when she thought about what happened last night. Young master didn't tell you to torture Huamin. If you mess around and lose your head, Don't blame me, Mr. Y said angrily and turned to leave. Although Zhao Qingya was unwilling, she felt that his words were reasonable. She didn't dare to say anything and could only follow behind him. In the cabin in the corner, Suyu's gunshot wound was very serious. It was festering and suppurating, and he also had a high fever. No one here cared about his life or death. Zhao Qingya didn't care, and neither did the masked woman. After Huamin went in, she threw herself at Suyu and sat down beside him. Tears streamed down her face. Chapter 4017. Suyu, I'm here. Suyu, don't be afraid. Huamin knew that she couldn't control her emotions when she saw Suyu. If she saw Suyu in perfect condition, she might be able to calm down. But now, Suyu was on the verge of death. Even if he was a 7-foot-tall man, he could only be a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Suyu was still wearing the clothes he was wearing on the day he disappeared. It was Suyu's favorite Versace white long-sleeve shirt, but the original white color could no longer be seen. Blood and mud had stained the original color of the shirt. Suyu's face and head were covered in blood and mud. His eyes were closed, the corners of his mouth were pale, and his breath was weak. Huamin cried and touched his forehead. It was very hot. She didn't know how long this high fever had lasted. Suyu, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have come earlier. I'm sorry. Huamin cried and clutched her chest. She felt that she couldn't breathe. If Suyu died like this, how could she face Lord Su, Mr. Su, and Mrs. Su? How could she face her good friends, Tang Chuan, Wei Liao, Xiao Wei, and the others? How could she face Han Yueyao, who liked Suyu, and Pudding and Little Bean, who loved Suyu deeply? At this moment, Huamin no longer had her usual rationality and calmness. She only felt that she was out of breath from crying. Finally, Suyu regained some consciousness. Mian, is that Mian? His voice was still weak, as if he was still in a dream. Suyu, it's me. I'm Huamin. Huamin reached out excitedly and held Suyu's hand tightly. His hands were extremely cold, without a trace of warmth. Perhaps it was because he touched Huamin's warm palm that Suyu finally regained a little bit of strength. But he still couldn't open his eyes. Mian, let's go. It's dangerous here, let's go. No, I won't leave you alone. Although Huamin knew that Suyu was talking in his sleep and wasn't awake, he still answered seriously. After calming himself down, Huamin took out his backpack. Inside was a mini first aid kit, which was a necessary tool for doctors. Huamin took out a disposable syringe and a prescription of anti-inflammatory drugs and injected them into Suyu's vein. Then, she took out a disinfected wet towel and began to wipe Suyu's head and face. About 20 minutes later, Suyu's temperature gradually dropped. Huamin also wiped his face clean. Only then did he realize that he was the fearless young master of the Su family. Then, Huamin carefully helped Suyu take off his clothes. She glanced at the gunshot wound on his collarbone. It was simply too horrible to look at. It was suppurated and inflamed, and there was a black scab on it. The smell was foul. Huamin thought that if she came a day later, Suyu might not be able to make it through tonight. Thinking about it, Huamin almost cried again. She held it in and took out an anesthetic to anesthetize Suyu. Then, she took out a small knife and pliers. She began to remove the bullet for Suyu because the lights in the cabin were very dim. Therefore, Huamin could only rely on his eyes to stare at the wound, not daring to be distracted for a moment. Seeing this scene, many people felt that it was quite interesting. This child is born to be a doctor. She even knows how to carry a first aid kit, anesthetics, and scalpels. It seems that the kid can be saved. The woman sitting on the golden chair played with a pair of crystal balls in her hands with a slightly smile. Master, Miss Mian is a kind child, the maid said gently. Kind? Messiah, tell me, in this day and age, how much is kindness worth? The woman smiled like a flower. Chapter 4018. Huamin was glad that she had seen the threatening video Zhao Qingya sent her. That was why she was fully prepared. She even brought scalpels and anesthetics and a first aid kit. It also allowed Su Yu to undergo the most gentle and delicate surgery in Huomin's life without any pain. After the surgery, she wet the white towel she brought with water and placed it on Su Yu's forehead. Then, he leaned against the wall and gasped for breath, feeling exhausted. There was a lot of movement in her stomach, which meant that the baby was being naughty again. Huomin smiled and touched her belly. "Baby, don't be afraid. It's okay. Mommy is operating on Uncle Su to save him. Let's work together to wake Uncle Su up, okay?" The baby seemed to understand and quieted down after a few movements. Huomin's forehead was covered in sweat. She leaned against the wall and closed her eyes to focus. At this moment, she really didn't want to think about anything. She was confident in her medical skills, so she was sure that Su Yu would wake up tomorrow morning. In one night, her husband would probably send reinforcements. After all, she had so many trackers on her body, and there was even an extremely small one implanted under her skin that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Only then would Mr. Qin let her out. Besides, judging from the situation, the person behind this didn't seem to want to kill her. As for what their ultimate goal was, it was hard to say. At dinner, because of Layla's special preference, she wasn't interested in ordinary food at all. Therefore, someone prepared something more delicious for her in advance. It was something that ordinary people couldn't swallow at all. Jack, on the other hand, allowed the witch to eat in the room because he had served her well these past few days. Jack only ordered a beef burger and a cup of Coke. It was simple but delicious. As he ate, he looked at Huomin on the monitor, and his eyes became deep. After a while, Layla opened the door and walked in. Jack immediately stood up and became nervous. "Young madam." Layla glanced at the monitor and smiled. "What? Do you feel bad for your sister?" "Haha, she's Huasiqian's little sister, but she's not mine. Is she done with Su Yu's surgery?" Layla asked casually. "Yes, her medical skills are indeed very good, but do you not intend to let Su Yu die?" "When did I say that I would let Su Yu die?" "Jack, Su Yu can't die. Everyone can't die. It'll be fun to have the original team." Layla's words were always so unfathomable. Jack didn't dare to guess or try to figure it out. There seemed to be no secrets in front of this woman. "So we don't need to do anything now. You should know that their reinforcements are almost here." "Reinforcements? So what if we're there? Let's see if we can get in first." Layla poured herself a glass of red wine and sipped it leisurely. "Jack, you hate Huomin, don't you?" "Yes." "If you see her in so much pain that she wants to die, will you feel good?" Jack froze for a moment and then laughed. "Of course, I'll be very happy. Of course, I won't miss such a fun thing. MHM, very good. Wait for it. There'll be a wonderful show soon. I think you'll be excited to death." Then, Layla lifted her faintly visible skirt and sat on Jack's lap. The scene was extremely erotic. In the cabin, Su Yu woke up faster than Huomin expected. "Water!" His dry lips moved slightly. Chapter 4019. "Su Yu, you're awake?" Huomin was a little excited. Before he could recover, he crawled over and helped Su Yu up. "I want to drink water." Su Yu was still in a daze. Huomin quickly got up and poured the water that he had checked into a disposable paper cup. Then, he placed it next to Su Yu's mouth. After drinking 3 large cups of water in a row, Su Yu finally opened his eyes in a daze. "Am I dead?" Su Yu looked at the ceiling with blank eyes. "You're not dead yet." Hearing the voice, Su Yu turned his head abruptly. When he saw the person beside him, he was shocked. "Mion? It's me. Am I still in a dream? I saw you in my dream. You took care of me so gently." Su Yu had already confused the scene of Layla entering and Huomin. Before Huomin could speak, Su Yu continued, "I also dreamed that your child disappeared. Where's the child? Is the child okay?" "The child is fine. He's fine. Don't worry." Huomin smiled in relief. Su Yu reached out and touched Huomin's shoulder-length hair. He only touched it once, but it felt so real. "I really hope it's a dream. Why?" "Because I'm not worth the risk." Su Yu seemed to understand their situation. "Nonsense. If Su Yu isn't worth it, who is?" "Su Yu, don't worry. I'm here. You'll be fine. Look, I've treated the wound on your shoulder. Don't you feel any pain? The anesthetic I made is very comfortable. It won't affect your central nervous system, and you won't feel any pain. Huamin gently comforted Suyu. Only then did Suyu realize that there was a slight tearing pain on his collarbone. He looked down and saw that Huamin had wrapped the bullet with a white bandage. Our Dr. Hua is indeed skilled. This was the only time Suyu smiled from the bottom of his heart since he came here. Of course, especially since you don't have to pay for the medical expenses. That's even better. Otherwise, with my status, I'd have to charge 1,000,000 yuan per bullet. Seeing that Huamin could still joke at a time like this, Suyu's mood inexplicably improved. It's so good to see you again. The moment he saw Huamin, he no longer cared about his own life. No matter how long he could live, he felt he was worth it. At this moment, Suyu's stomach rumbled. Suyu awkwardly turned his head away, too ashamed to look at Huamin. He was a godlike tycoon. How could he be in such dire straits? You must be hungry. Wait here. I'll go get something to eat. Don't go. What if they hurt you? Suyu hurriedly grabbed Huamin's arm, afraid of any trouble. It's okay. They won't dare to do anything to me. Huamin was full of confidence. She stood up and pushed open the door with her big belly. The two guards at the door immediately raised their guns and looked at her warily. What do you want? Go back. Don't worry, I won't run. Where can a pregnant woman like me run? My friend is sick and needs food. I want to eat. I want congee, water, and a boiled egg would be best. The two looked at each other and didn't speak. Your master hasn't said anything about killing us, right? Then let's eat and drink. If we starve to death, you won't have a good life either. With that, Huamin slammed the door shut. One of the guards at the door turned around to report. After a while, the food was delivered, and it was a double portion. Huamin carefully picked up the congee and blew on it. Come, Suyu, eat something. Ahem, I'll do it myself. I have hands. Suyu was a bit shy. He usually liked to joke, but in front of Huamin, he always looked like a teenager who had just fallen in love. Chapter 40:20. Okay, but let me test it first. Then, Huamin took out his food substitute and began to filter it. After confirming that there were no problems, he let Suyu eat. After taking a small sip of porridge, Suyu secretly glanced at Huamin. Why are you looking at me? I'm afraid that you're an illusion. I'm afraid that when I close my eyes and open them again, you'll be gone. Don't worry. That won't happen unless I'm dead. Actually, Huamin was joking, but Suyu seemed to be very angry. His expression immediately changed. Bah. Don't jinx it. You can't say such ominous things. Hurry up and eat. Under Suyu's urging, Huamin picked up his bowl of porridge and helped Suyu peel a boiled egg. One for each of us, Huamin said. You can have them all. You still have a baby and need nutrition. Suyu knew that during this critical period, it didn't matter if he suffered a little, but he couldn't let the baby in Huamin's stomach suffer. The baby said that Uncle Suyu will treat us to a big meal in the future. Don't try to make us go away with just an egg. Then, without waiting for Suyu to speak, Huamin stuffed the peeled egg into Suyu's mouth. Suyu had no choice but to eat. Mian, I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing? I dragged you into this. Don't say such bullshit, okay? We're very close. Even if you're captured to the ends of the earth, I'll still come. But if I really make it so that we can't go back this time, After speaking, Huamin ignored Suyu and ate the porridge in big mouthfuls. It was as if the bowl was filled with delicacies. Huamin had always been close to the people, so she had never acted like a goddess. She wasn't anyone's goddess, but because she was real enough, everyone liked her. Watching Suyu and Huamin fooling around on the screen, Layla felt a little upset. She lay on Jack's lap and stroked the sensitive edge of his thigh. She sighed, Honey, how can there be such a cheap woman like Huamin in this world? She keeps saying that she loves her husband, Qin Shu, but in the blink of an eye, she's pregnant. She even seduces Suyu and flirts with Suyu. Tell me, how sad will her husband be if he finds out? Huamin shouldn't be trying to seduce Suyu, right? They seem to be very good friends. Jack felt that Layla's words weren't right. Even if he didn't like Huamin, he couldn't distort Huamin's nature and character. If that's not seduction, then what is? She took off Suyu's clothes, operated on him, and even fed him. It's disgusting. I've always thought that physical infidelity isn't scary, but mental infidelity is. Huamin's mental infidelity is even more detestable. Although I've been in contact with many men, I don't love them. Huamin is just a bitch who plays with men in the name of true love. Am I right? The woman's long nails caressed Jack's enchanting face. She looked even more charming in the night. Yes, young madam, everything you say is right. Haha, I like it when you're so good at talking. Jack's obedience and performance satisfied Layla. She didn't think highly of the friendship between Su Yu and Huamin. Instead, she twisted it into a mental infidelity. Okay, it's about time. Let's watch something more interesting. At this moment, Jack saw Layla open an exquisite small box. Something seemed to fly out of the small box with a whoosh and then disappeared. Jack was confused, not knowing what Layla was going to do next. Chapter 4021. Just wait and see. That bitch will suffer. I'll avenge you, dear. Then, Layla kissed the corner of Jack's mouth. Jack didn't seem to be used to the strong fragrance, but he couldn't and didn't dare to show it. After all, this woman was temperamental, and he might lose his life. Although he didn't see what this woman ate every night. But he knew from a smell of blood that it was definitely not something good. Jack didn't dare to say that Ian and Nalo were perverts anymore, because all the perverts he had seen added together weren't even 1/10,000th of Layla's. However, what Jack didn't understand was, why did such a cruel Layla have the same face as Huamin? Even if they were biological sisters or twins, there should be some differences, right? But the two of them were really exactly the same. It was too strange. However, Jack didn't dare to ask or say these questions. Previously, because of Miss Sung Ro's temper, she scolded Layla. After that, Layla ordered her to be taken away and stripped, and then a dozen black men took turns to torture her for an entire night. Even now, Jack felt panicked when he thought of Zung Ro's eyes before she died. Although he wasn't the one who did it, Zung Ro's death was proof of how cruel this woman was. It made his hair stand on end. So, she taunted Huamin just now. Could it be? Was she going to play some dirty tricks on Huamin? After Huamin and Suyu finished their porridge and eggs, they leaned against the wall to warm themselves and chat. They didn't expect that a calamity would suddenly approach them. Suyu, that night, you were kidnapped by Zhao Qingya. No, the man who came with her. Mr. Y. Huamin asked. You know him? Suyu turned his head and looked at Huamin in surprise. I found some clues. I was too careless. I didn't expect her to appear. Really, I don't know what to feel. It's like stepping in dog shit. Suyu chuckled softly. Looks like Lu Zhe was talking about her when he left. She's avenging her sister. Yes, but I think she's crazy, Huamin said. Yes, her brain isn't very normal. I've only seen her twice. After she tortured me for a while, she probably got tired of it and didn't come again. Suyu said, if this incident wasn't directed at you, but at me, then you are the victim. You were implicated by me. Huamin lowered his head. Let's not talk about implicating each other. No matter what, we can't die here. Yes, I promised everyone that I would bring you back safely. I promised my husband that I would try my best to go back alive. Qin Shui, Suyu was actually a little guilty. Because he was caught. Huamin was forced to come out to save him even though he was almost in labor. Qin Shu was probably the most upset. But according to Huamin's temper, Qin Shu couldn't stop him. So, he would be in even more pain. My husband is very understanding. Don't worry, he won't blame you. I know. The two were chatting when, suddenly, Suyu felt a little itchy on his collarbone. He reached out to grab it, only to find that a black bug the size of a pinky nail had flown over. It was lying on Suyu's blood-soaked bandage and seemed to be sucking blood. Slap! Suyu slapped the little thing and it died. But it left a dark green liquid. It mixed with Suyu's wound. Oh no, something's wrong with this thing. Huamin stood up with a whoosh, his expression changing. Chapter 4022. By the time Huamin realized that something was wrong, it was already too late because the bug's body had already festered. It landed on Suyu's wound. Perhaps it was attracted by the blood on Suyu's wound. Suyu, are you okay? Huamin looked at Suyu nervously. This was a primitive forest. Therefore, Huamin was afraid that it was some poisonous flying bug. If that was the case, wouldn't Suyu's life be in danger? I'm fine. Suyu didn't feel anything at first, because the bacteria had yet to officially take control of his brain through his blood circulation. But 10 minutes later, the situation in the cabin was very dangerous. Suyu's eyes were red, and his entire body felt like it was on fire. He had been drugged with the most powerful aphrodisiac in history. Yes, that little bug was the acacia worm cultivated by Layla. It would crawl wherever there was blood. As soon as it came into contact with human blood, it would quickly spread to the blood and control the brain to do irrational things. Speaking of which, Su had been abstinent for several years. Ever since he fell in love with Huamin, he had never touched any woman. Since then, he had never had any physical contact with another woman. Therefore, to him, this aphrodisiac was even more deadly. Suyu, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Huamin was frightened when he saw that Suyu was in a bad mood. His entire body was trembling slightly. He quickly reached out to touch his forehead, but he was stopped by his wrist. Then, the look in his eyes became exceptionally fiery. Suyu, say something. What's wrong? You're scaring me to death. Huamin was anxious. Mion, I think I've been drugged with an aphrodisiac. I can't control myself. Get away from me. With that, Suyu used the last bit of strength in his body to push Huamin away. Huamin fell to the ground, dumbfounded. An aphrodisiac? At this moment, Huamin finally understood. The mastermind was truly vicious. This was definitely not something that someone like Zhao Qingya could come up with. Outside the surveillance screen, Layla smiled and asked Jack, "Is it fun?" "Yes, it's fun." Jack nodded. "In a while, Suyu will directly force himself on the pregnant Huamin. Oh right, according to the amount of aphrodisiac, Suyu won't stop for at least 3 hours. If he really does it for 3 hours, the little bastard in Huamin's stomach will definitely die." Jack's eyes lit up when he heard that. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is we have to film the whole process of them having sex in high definition. Then, we can show it to Chinshu in the future. That's the most exciting scene. To be honest, Jack felt that Layla's words were extremely vicious. He really could not imagine how there could be such a vicious woman like Layla in this world. Not only did she destroy the relationship between Huamin and Suyu, but she also caused Suyu to lose Huamin's child. Huamin was about to give birth. If Suyu was careless, not only would he lose the child, but Huamin would also lose his life, right? Jack felt that even his irritable second personality could not do such an inhumane thing. However, Layla, who looked like Huamin, had an extremely innocent face and looked harmless, but she played tricks on people. What do you think will happen if Suyu wakes up and finds out that he committed such a crime? Layla wrapped her arms around Jack's neck and said mysteriously, "He'll probably apologize with his life, but Suyu used to be a special forces soldier and has strong willpower. Maybe he can endure it," Jack analyzed. "If he does, he'll only explode and die. At that time, Suyu will die in front of Huamin first. That'll be even more exciting." Jack's heart sank when he heard that. Chapter 4023. At this moment, the atmosphere in the wooden cabin was extremely tense. Suyu seemed to know that he was a little out of control. He curled himself into a ball in the corner, trembling. "Suyu," Huamin wanted to help, but he was powerless. "Don't come over, Mion. Please stay away from me, as far away as possible." Of course, Suyu subconsciously wanted to protect Huamin, but the cabin was only so big, so he couldn't be far away. "Suyu, let me take your pulse. I want to see if the drug in your body is just an aphrodisiac or poison. If necessary, I can perform acupuncture and bleed you." Huamin didn't want Suyu to suffer like this, so he wanted to do something for him. However, he underestimated the extent to which Suyu was under the drug's control. Just as Huamin approached Suyu again, before he could touch Suyu's hand, Suyu pressed him to the ground. Then, Suyu grabbed Huamin's wrist tightly and looked at her with a gaze that had never been seen before. Suyu already had deep feelings for Huamin, and now that he was under the influence of the drug, he couldn't hold it in anymore. He had been holding it in for a long time. Now, every second was long and painful for him. Suyu. Huamin's voice was very soft. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't afraid of Suyu because she knew that Suyu would never hurt her. Suyu like this only made her heart ache. Io, the show is about to start. Layla was quite satisfied with Suyu's performance. She thought that Suyu had completely lost control. Therefore, she pushed Huamin to the ground rudely. Looking at the two people on the screen, Jack didn't say anything. His eyes were filled with indescribable emotions. On the other side of the screen, the maid placed an exquisite cup of coffee on the table of the woman with the crystal mask. Master, here's your coffee. Okay, Master, well, what Miss Layla did to Miss Huamian put her and the child in danger. The maid seemed to be more concerned about Huamin. If she loses to Layla so easily, then this child doesn't deserve to be my daughter. Under the crystal mask was Lin Ya's peerless beauty. Professor Liu once said that even Liu Yin, who was extremely beautiful, was not even 1/10 as beautiful as their mother, Lin Ya. The most important thing was that she did not have the charm that could topple a city with a single smile or a country with a single smile. Lin Ya's mask was sewn with golden thread, and crystals were inlaid around the corners of her eyes, looking very much like the shape of an angel's wings. She always wore elegant, low-cut evening gowns. They were champagne-colored. They were beautiful and sparkling. Here, everyone was afraid of her, including her maid, Messiah, who had been with her for a long time. Then, shouldn't we tell Miss Layla to show mercy to Miss Huamian? The maid asked tentatively. Lin Ya smiled. With Layla's personality, it'll be fine if you don't tell her. If you tell her, she'll get even worse. Yes, no one knew Layla's cruel personality better than she did. The maid didn't dare to say anything else at this moment. Huamin was subdued by Suyu. His wrists were tightly clamped, and he couldn't move at all. If Suyu really wanted to do something, she couldn't stop him. If he was an enemy, she could use some extreme methods to protect herself. But the person in front of her was Suyu, so Huamin couldn't do anything to hurt him, even if he might kill her. Suyu leaned close to Huamin's ear in the screen. He was about to lower his head to kiss Huamin. But only the person involved knew that Suyu leaned close to Huamin's ear and said, Huamin, kill me. He said, Mian, kill me. I know you can do it. Chapter 4024. Huamin looked at Suyu in shock. Then, she shook her head desperately. No matter what, she wouldn't kill Suyu. It went against her conscience. But if I do something to hurt you, I won't be able to live either. Suyu's red eyes glistened with tears. Huamin's heart ached so much that she burst into tears. She pushed Suyu away forcefully and shouted, Even so, you can't do this. I won't allow you to be such a coward. If you can't live, you'll die. Do you think life is that easy? You only have one chance. You only have one chance. Huamin screamed at the top of her lungs. Perhaps she was too emotional, causing her uterus to contract and her stomach to feel uncomfortable. Huamin bent down and covered her stomach with her hands. Mian, Suyu was worried. He wanted to go over, but he was afraid that he would hurt Huamin. Suyu, we can't be defeated by bad people. We're the strongest warriors. You're my best friend. We can't lose to those despicable people. Huamin pointed at the camera. It seemed to be a guarantee, but also a provocation. Layla's eyes were cold. She didn't expect Huamin's reaction. In the past, she thought that all the rumors about Huamin were false. She was just an ordinary woman. How powerful could she be? Therefore, she had always looked down on Huamian. She really looked down on her. Suyu was touched by Huamin's words. He wanted to say something. However, he couldn't control himself at all when the drug took effect. He had the urge to pounce on Huamin and eat him up, but a voice in his heart told him that he couldn't do that. Suyu, calm down. Suyu, don't be stupid. That's the most important person to you. You can't hurt him. In an instant, Suyu seemed to have split into many people, and there were many voices in his heart. Just as Suyu couldn't control himself and was about to pounce on her again, He forcefully turned around and slammed himself against the wall. This collision was not light at all. His head was spinning. His forehead was bleeding from the kowtow. "Suyu!" Huamin screamed in pain. Then, she hurriedly ran over and helped Suyu up, ignoring the discomfort in her stomach. "Mion, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't know what to do." After Suyu was hit hard on the head, the potion was once again suppressed a little. He had temporarily regained his rationality. "Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Why are you banging your head against the wall? You'll die, you know? You big idiot." Huamin cried and cursed at the same time. She was anxious and angry. Huamin was so angry that she really wanted to raise her fist and punch Suyu. However, seeing him like this, she couldn't bear to do it. Suyu smiled, and his breathing became weak. "Even if I die, I won't hurt you." How could he withstand such torture? If this continued, Suyu would probably die if he banged himself against the wall again. Huamin's heart had completely collapsed. She cried and hugged Suyu. "Suyu, sleep for a while. Leave this to me. Be good, I'll wake you up." After saying this, Huamian reached out her hand to wipe away her tears and messy face. Then, her fingers moved slightly, and a tiny anesthetic needle gently pierced Suyu's back. At this moment, he couldn't feel any pain, but he suddenly felt very sleepy. He reached out, wanting to touch Huamin's delicate and handsome face. However, before he could touch it, his eyelids drooped, and he fell into a deep sleep. Chapter 4025. This super anesthetic was developed by Huamin. She was afraid that it would have side effects on the brain, so she hadn't decided if she should give it to Suyu. This anesthetic was completely different from the one used on Suyu during the surgery, because it was super anesthetic. She had planned to use it on enemies, but she didn't expect to use it on Suyu. Suyu fell asleep in Huamin's arms. Huamin hugged him like this, her heart on the verge of breaking down. 3 minutes later, she slowly put down Suyu, took off her cotton jacket, and covered Suyu with it. Then, she stood up, pointed at the surveillance screen, and gave him the middle finger. "Idiot, if you want to target me, then target me. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Get out here." This was the first time in Huamin's life that he had cursed so crudely. Looking at the arrogant woman on the surveillance screen, Jack's eyes lit up. At this moment, he finally understood why Huasiqian liked this woman so much. Huamin's reaction was unexpected by Layla. She was waiting for a good show, but finally, Layla stood up lazily and said something to Huamin on the screen. "These mortals, they really make me think that brains are a good thing." On the other side, in the helicopter, "Boss, our helicopter's signal source is jammed. We can't fly directly to our destination." "What do you mean?" Lu Yin was planning with Qin Chu how to save people. Hearing her subordinate's words, her face darkened. "That's where we're going. There's a strong signal jamming source there, so we can't land accurately. We can only stop 50 kilometers away and find a way to drive there according to the map." "Signal jamming source? Fuck, I don't believe it. I'll crack it." As a top hacker, Lu Yin rarely met a match. No matter what kind of signal it was, she could crack it easily. So, after hearing her subordinate's report, she took out her laptop and began to crack it. In the end, 1 minute passed, 2 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, and Qin Shu didn't say a word. He knew from Lu Yan's expression that she was in trouble. Fuck, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? With Lu Yan's skills, she had only solved the tip of the iceberg after 10 minutes. At this rate, when the plane landed, it would be impossible to crack it. The professor said that the other party has an expert. Qin Shu seemed to have expected that this would not be an easy battle. What fucking expert? All of them are dead chickens here. I'm not convinced. Lu Yin cursed as she continued to crack it, but she still couldn't crack it instantly. She was too embarrassed to say that she had never seen such a complicated code before. If word got out, he would feel so embarrassed. "Boss, the plane has to land in 15 minutes. What should we do?" "Let's land 50 kilometers away. We'll drive there." Lu Yin had no choice but to use this method. Just as the plane was about to land, Lu Yan's watch rang. "Dad, What instructions do you have? Where are you? To save elder sister. What? Come back immediately. Professor Liu was furious. Dad, are you stupid? Why should we go back? Brother-in-law and I are about to arrive. Elder sister is here. You must leave now. You can't go there. Why? Liu Yin was puzzled. I'm in Iceland right now. I need to confirm something. I'll tell you once I've confirmed it. Anyway, don't go there. Those people, I'm afraid you can't handle them. Listen to me and go back with Chu, the professor said. Are you kidding me? I'm afraid of no one. No one can touch my sister, not even God. Before her father could speak, Liu Yin hung up the phone immediately. No matter who it was, she couldn't delay the rescue of her sister. Listen to my order and prepare to land. Liu Yin stood up and looked down at the green forest under the plane. Chapter 4026. Liu Yin and Qin Chu left in a hurry, and no one else knew about it except for him, and only told everyone after they left. Gao Ran was furious. He kept scolding Qin Chu for not being a good friend and didn't even ask him to go. After all, he was a cadre at the level of the municipal bureau and was capable, and wanted to help Liu Yin. This was what happened before they boarded the plane. And job behind Liu Yin and Qin Chu. Queen Yin, President Qin, I want to go with you. One more person means one more force. There was nothing wrong with what he said. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He glanced at Liu Yin. Liu Yin had never been a person who liked to waste time. She glanced at him. Then, she looked at a male subordinate beside her. He was tall, thin, and average-looking. I'll give you 30 seconds. You two KO each other. If you win, you can go with me. If you can't, give up on this idea. Then, Liu Yin picked up the stopwatch. When he came back to his senses, he rushed up and used his special skill. In less than 25 seconds, he was knocked to the ground by the other party. When he got up from the ground, the time was up. Without a word, Liu Yin turned around and boarded the plane. Shaoan watched the plane fly away, silently from behind. He even had the urge to die before he met Liu Yin and thought he was quite powerful. He could spar with President Su when he had nothing to do. He even protected Huamin for years. He was an outstanding bodyguard, but later he realized that compared to Liu Yin and the others, he was just a kid. So now he finally understood why he was on the cruise ship back then. When they celebrated Hua Min's birthday, they fought so hard for Jack. Liu Yin, on the other hand, beat Jack so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. Therefore, Liu Yin was born with the halo of a goddess. He had no choice but to admit defeat that afternoon and return to Imperial Star. After all, without Su Yu, Imperial Star had a lot of trouble. Although the vice president could manage and operate the company, he was not a key figure, and returned to Imperial Star and cleaned Su Yu's office for a while. When he went downstairs, Han Yueyao stopped him at the back door of the company. Xiao and Miss Han. Don't call me Miss Han all the time. I'm not a noble lady. Just call me Han Yueyao. She was wearing a short, white, cotton-padded jacket, jeans, and white sneakers. She looked energetic and always looked like a college student. I'm used to calling you that. It's hard to change it now. And you didn't go on a business trip with President Su? No, Shaoan answered quickly. Then where did President Su go? He went to the south and answered perfunctorily. We're in the south. Han Yueyao didn't give up. We should go to Hung City first, and then the city of Brisk. Shaoan casually listed a few cities that Su Yu used to frequent. Han Yueyao looked at him suspiciously. Wait, why did Sister Mian tell me that President Su went to Jiangzhou? Oh, then he went to Jiangzhou again, and immediately corrected himself. And don't lie to me. I know you're hiding something from me. Sister Mian won't tell me, and you won't tell me either. But it's been a few days. President Su is on a business trip. You should have his phone with him. I feel that something is wrong. Can you tell me the truth? Miss Han, and I beg you, I swear I won't tell anyone. Please tell me the truth. I'm really worried about Su Yu. Han Yueyao had no choice but to beg him for help. At first, she believed that Su Yu was on a business trip. But the more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. It was a big mystery that he didn't bring his phone with him. Recently, Huamin was nowhere to be seen, and was so secretive, it seemed that something had happened. Chapter 4027. Miss Han. No, Miss Yao Yao, listen to me. I wanted to make up an excuse to fool her. But looking at Han Yuyao's yearning eyes, and couldn't bear to tell her the truth. So he asked, Miss Yao Yao, do you like President Su? No, I don't like him. Han Yuyao denied it, and thought, why don't you tell me the truth? Then Han Yuyao said, I love Su Yu. I'm deeply in love with him. Hearing her naked confession, even and blushed, let alone Su Yu. Ahem, 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 I love Su Yu. Why are you so embarrassed? So, do me a favor and tell me where Su Yu is. 5 seconds of silence, and didn't have the heart to lie to her. After all, Qin Shu and Lu Yan had gone to rescue him. According to Lu Yan's style, Su Yu would probably come back tomorrow morning. After much consideration, and decided to tell Han Yueyao the truth. President Su was kidnapped. What? Han Yueyao was so surprised that a goose egg could be stuffed into her mouth. The news was like a bolt from the blue, and she was dumbfounded. She couldn't believe that a person like Su Yu could be kidnapped. What did that mean? It involved a lot of things, so I can't say more. I'm sorry, Miss Yao Yao. And what happened to Su Yu? Did the kidnappers ask for a ransom? Afraid that it would leave, Han Yueyao tugged at the corner of his shirt nervously. If only they asked for a ransom. We can afford hundreds of millions of yuan. The trouble is that they didn't come for money. Then why? Revenge. They're President Su's enemies. And was worried. What should we do? Did you call the police? I don't dare to. God, what should we do? What about Su Yu? Han Yuyao's face paled as she paced back and forth. Don't worry. President Qin and President Hua have already gone to save them. I believe in President Qin and President Hua's abilities. President Hua? Sister Mian went too? Han Yueyao was even more surprised. Yes. Miss Yao Yao, please don't tell anyone about this. If some unscrupulous media outlets find out about this, not only will Imperial Star stock market fall, but it will also cause panic among our employees. She nodded and promised, don't worry, I won't tell you. Then go and do your work. The company is being managed by the vice president now. Everything is going on as usual. You and that popular celebrity have already entered the finals, right? Yeah, the finals are next week. It's the road to the championship. Han Yueyao smiled bitterly. Very powerful. Good luck. I really hope that President Su can come back to help us on the night of the final battle. He will. President Su is such a good person. He'll definitely come back safely. After chatting with her for a while, and left in low spirits. Not in the mood for rehearsal, Han Yueyao went back to her dorm room and lay on the bed without a word. Yuan Bo had been more attentive to her recently, and she didn't even accept his red packets. She didn't even go to dinner with him. Yuan Bo wasn't her type, and she didn't want to mess with him. After Su Xiaoxiao left, Lin Heng seemed to have disappeared. Without the love triangle, Han Yueyao felt relaxed. She had thought she could see Su Yu happily every day, but to her surprise, something like this happened. And didn't say it explicitly, but Han Yueyao had a feeling that Su Yu was in great danger this time. She took out her cell phone and found a photo of Su Yu on Baidu and touched it. Su Yu, you must come back safely. If you come back safely, I'll confess my love to you even if it means I have to be shameless. Han Yueyao was terrified that she would never see Su Yu again. Chapter 4028. While Han Yueyao was crying, the Gao family was worried as well. Qin Shu left in a hurry and asked Gao Ran to pick up the 2 kids from South Hill Manor. He even said that if he and Huan Mian didn't make it back, he would kill them. He hoped that Lingling and Gao Ran could take care of them. Of course, the 2 kids didn't know anything and left in Gao Ran's car. The Gao family's house was big, and the 3 kids played well in Bui Yuan's room. Zhu Lingling was cooking delicious food for the kids in the kitchen. Gao Ran sneaked into the kitchen and told Zhu Lingling what Qin Shu had said. Angry, Zhu Lingling pointed at Gao Ran with a spatula and asked, "Did Qin Shu really say that?" "Yeah, that bastard. They're his kids. If he doesn't take care of them, who will? I can't imagine how the 2 kids will live without their parents." Qin Shu said, "Let's not be so pessimistic. Gao Ran put his arm around Zhu Lingling's shoulder. If my ass. I can't do that. Anyway, nothing can happen to me on. Nothing can happen to anyone. Zhu Lingling's voice was loud when she was agitated. Hush. Honey, keep your voice down. Don't let the kids hear you. Did he say when he'll come back? No. Didn't you say you'd ask the local police for help? Did you do that? Qin Shu told me not to. If we did, we'd alert the enemy. You're useless. Why didn't you go with him? Why didn't you come back? Zhu Lingling hit her husband in anger. In her heart, Gao Ran was very powerful and capable. He would definitely come in handy at a critical moment. Qin Shu won't let me go. He has an invincible sister-in-law. Gao Ran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right. Hurry up and get out. You're an eyesore here. As a housewife, Zhu Lingling naturally didn't understand these things. She could only silently pray that the couple was fine as she cooked. Zhu Lingling had always felt that Huomin's life was full of disasters. Therefore, she was not envious of Huomin's wealthy life, because she knew how difficult it was for Huomin to achieve what he had today. Half an hour later, the Gao family started eating. Zhu Lingling had prepared everything with great care. She had made more than 10 dishes. It was a combination of meat and vegetables, and in order to match the children's tastes, the stir-fried meat was sliced very thin. Moreover, it looked, smelled, and tasted good. Wow, it smells so good. I can smell it from afar. Annie Lingling's cooking is amazing. Before they even started eating, Little Bean began to flatter him. Your mother-in-law will like your hypocrisy. Pudding laughed at her. Go away. If you don't want to eat, you can leave. Why should I leave? Auntie Lingling invited me here, not just you. Pudding retorted. Shouldn't you go to Annie Xiaowei's place to eat? Hee. Little Bean snickered. You two don't bicker. Go wash your hands and come back for dinner. Zhu Lingling had a deep affection for these two children. Although she couldn't treat them as her own, they were no different from her own Buyin. In short, they were very close. Zhu Lingling, Gao Ran, and the three children ate delicious food. After dinner, Little Bean and Buyin went to the living room to play building blocks. Pudding had been watching a variety show on her tablet. But when Zhu Lingling went to the kitchen to wash the dishes, she went to the balcony. Pudding went to the balcony where Gao Ran was talking on the phone. He asked someone to contact the Yunnan police to see if he could find some helpers for Qin Shu and the others. Uncle Gao Ran. Pudding's sudden appearance startled Gao Ran. Chapter 4029. Seeing this, Gao Ran hurriedly said, Call me if you have any news. That's all. After hanging up, Gao Ran smiled guiltily. Pudding, why are you here? I'm full and have nothing to do. I want to talk to you, Uncle. Sure. Come sit. Gao Ran waved his hand. Their balcony was very big. When Huomin was a guest, he helped Zhu Lingling design it. It was very three-dimensional and had a rural style. There were 2 rattan chairs and a round coffee table in the middle. There were shelves on both sides. On the shelves were rows of potted plants. When there were a lot of green plants, it made people feel like they were in nature. Gao Ran sat on the chair on the left. Pudding walked to the right and sat across from Gao Ran. Do you want to eat some fruit? I'll go wash some for you. Uncle Gao Ran, it's okay. I'm full. Okay. Uncle Gao Ran, is the bureau still busy? The bureau has always been like this. Big and small cases keep coming up. It's a mess. That's why it's better for a man to focus on his own career. Your daddy has it easier than me. Gao Ran smiled and started chatting with Pudding about their daily lives. Pudding tilted her head and leaned against the rattan chair. My daddy doesn't have it easy. He's introverted and has a lot on his mind. He keeps everything in his heart and doesn't want to say it. He's under a lot of pressure. So you like your daddy, right? Gao Ran asked with a smile. That's what everyone says. But I don't think I'm as good as my daddy. My daddy can do anything for mommy, but I don't think I can. I'm selfish. I'm only willing to do things for my family. You're still young. When you grow up, you'll understand some things. Gao Ran felt that Pudding's topic was a bit heavy, so he didn't want to talk too much. After all, she was still a child. Uncle Gao Ran, what kind of person do you think I am? Yes, objectively evaluate me. Haha. That's not a good idea, is it? It's okay. I can accept it. I'm not that fragile, Pudding said seriously. Gao Ran was stumped. He thought for a long time and said slowly, Pudding is very smart, witty, and calm. Her personality is more like her father's. She's arrogant and cold, but she has her mother's calmness. She's really a genius baby. Uncle Gao Ran, do you think I'm trustworthy? Of course, Pudding is very loyal and kind. She remembered that Gao Buiyuan and Zhu Lingling had been set up in the hotel. At the critical moment, it was Pudding who told Buiyuan to activate the smoke alarm in the hotel. He had saved Zhu Lingling's life. This level of resourcefulness was not something that an ordinary child could have. Perhaps some adults did not have such brains, so Gao Ran appreciated this child very much. Since Uncle Gao Ran thinks so highly of me, then can you tell me where my daddy and mommy went? After a long time, Pudding finally got to the point. Hearing this, Gao Ran was shocked. Pudding, I'll tell you, Uncle Gao Ran, don't say perfunctory words. I can't believe it. Please tell me the truth. Otherwise, I'll make wild guesses and feel uneasy. I think, as their daughter, I have the right to know my parents' current situation. When Pudding calmed down, she looked very much like Huamin. Her expression was like that of a lawyer making a statement in court. The sharpness of her eyes made Gao Ran, an adult, feel guilty. He had wanted to say a few perfunctory words, but now it seemed that he couldn't fool her. Chapter 4030. Just like that, a 3-year-old child forced the director of the Municipal Public Security Bureau to be depressed. Gao Ran didn't answer Pudding immediately. Instead, he took out a cigarette and a lighter. Pudding, do you mind if I smoke? Pudding shook her head expressionlessly. But from Uncle Gao Ran's heavy body language, she knew her parents were in a bad situation. Otherwise, Uncle Gao Ran of the Municipal Public Security Bureau wouldn't look so depressed. In the living room, Little Bean seemed to have sensed something. She glanced at the balcony and asked Gao Buiyuan, "Why is my sister on the balcony? What's she talking to Uncle Gao Ran about?" "They're probably talking about stocks. Pudding likes stocks the most, right? My dad occasionally invests in some stocks." Gao Buiyuan's thoughts were simpler. "Really? But my sister's expression doesn't look right." Little Bean was worried. "Pudding is the smartest. She'll be fine. Don't worry. Maybe my dad doesn't have enough money and wants to borrow money from Pudding." Ha ha. Buiyuan was a cheerful person, so his thoughts were positive and optimistic. Influenced by his personality, Little Bean was also carefree. She didn't think much of it and continued playing with the toys with Gao Buiyuan. On the balcony, Gao Ran briefly told Pudding what had happened while smoking. It was divided into 3 points, simple and clear. First, Suyu was kidnapped. Second, the kidnapper asked Huamin to rescue him. Third, Qin Shu and Lu Yin went to rescue Huamin and Suyu. In the beginning, Pudding was worried. After all, the people she loved most had gone on an adventure. Finally, when the little thing heard that Lu Yin was here, it smiled mysteriously. "Did my auntie go with my dad?" Pudding asked again. "Yes. Your auntie is very rich. She brought her own private jet," Gao Ran said. "That's good. If Annie goes, it'll be fine. Let's wait for them to come back safely and have hot pot together to celebrate." Pudding smiled. Then she stood up and said something to Gao Ran seriously. "Thank you, Uncle Gao Ran, for telling me the truth." Then she turned and ran away. "This kid is so scary. I almost couldn't stop her." Gao Ran scratched his head in frustration. GK headquarters. Before Qin Shu left, he said something to Jixin and Bella. With Assistant Yang here, the company would be fine. After the morning meeting, Bella quietly pulled Jixin aside. "Jixin, come. I have something to tell you." Bella waved her hand and called Jixin to a secluded corridor alone. "Honey, what? Why are you being so mysterious?" Jixin was very obedient to Bella. She was the best husband in China. Jixin's family's family recently. "Come, what are you referring to? Company?" "No, it's our family." "Family?" "No, everything's fine." Jixin was kind but simple-minded. After all, Huamin had protected him so well that he hadn't seen any dark forces. Ever since Jingda came home, Jixin had been in a good mood. He could eat a big bowl of rice every day. When he was free, he often took Jingda shopping and bought him expensive clothes, shoes, and a new cell phone. Jixin cherished his father, whom he had lost and then regained. When you went out with him, did he say anything strange to you? Bella asked tentatively. Chapter 40:31. No. Why do you ask? What's wrong with Dad? Oh, it's not that. It's not that peaceful in our community. I'm worried that Dad and Mom are not safe at home. When I was jogging this morning, I heard from the security guards that a lot of dogs and cats have gone missing. Bella was afraid that Jixin would be suspicious, so she changed the topic to the pets. Oh, isn't that normal? All the dogs in our community are famous and the cats are expensive. It's normal that thieves want them. But no matter how good the thief is, he can't steal so many dogs. Also, he disappeared in a strange way. Even surveillance cameras can't capture him. Bella felt that something was wrong and wanted to analyze it with Jixin. Unfortunately, Jixin thought it was normal and didn't talk about it with his wife. Thieves are very good. Of course, they would pay attention to the surveillance cameras. Maybe the security guards stole the dogs themselves. Luckily, we don't have dogs. Jixin's words reminded Bella of something. Bella had an idea. She walked quickly to her office, searched online for a shop, and called a pet shop. Send me one of the smartest dogs in your shop. Yes, send it to my unit. After work, Bella and Jixin drove home with a golden retriever puppy. As soon as the dog entered the house, he barked fiercely at Jingda. Yang Meiyerong was so scared that she hid in the corner. Hey, what's wrong with you two? Where did you get such a big dog? Mom, I bought him. Isn't he cute? I named him Hachi. Bella squatted down and stroked the golden retriever's head. Jixin smiled dotingly. Mom, my wife has been obsessed with pets recently. We watched a movie called Hachiko. The dog in the movie was an Akita and was very loyal to its owner. Bella was so touched that she wanted to buy a dog for a long time. Our house is so lively now. I don't object to having a dog, but you have to be good. When you have a baby, you can't have a dog. Or you can get it to me. You can move out. Mom, we won't move out. We'll freeload here for the rest of our lives. Jixin put his arm around his mother's shoulder shamelessly. Then he saw that Uncle Jing's expression didn't look too good. Dad, look, isn't it handsome? It's a cute little male dog. Golden retrievers are very smart. Jixin pointed at the little golden retriever and smiled. Jingda took 2 steps back guiltily. It's pretty good. I'm glad you like it. Bella didn't miss the subtle change in Jingda. She didn't know if the little golden retriever was new or not. After he entered the room, he didn't stop yelling. He was especially fierce when he was yelling at Jingda. Jingda seemed to know what was going on, so he tried his best to stay away from the puppy. My dad doesn't seem to like dogs that much. Seeing Jingda enter the study, Bella asked her mother-in-law in a low voice. Yang Meiyerong said with a smile as she knitted the sweater, he used to like dogs very much. At that time, someone gave him a big stupid dog, and he treated it like a treasure. Later, it was stolen by a dog dealer. He was sad for a long time. Maybe because of this incident, he stopped raising dogs. Your father actually doesn't talk much and is introverted, but he is honest and kind to everyone. Yeah, he is. Bella smiled perfunctorily. She almost wanted to tell her mother-in-law that this seemingly honest man wasn't her ex-husband. After dinner, Bella went out for a walk in her cotton jacket when she heard a shocking piece of news in the neighborhood. Many neighbors gathered around and were talking about it. Bella went up and asked, "What's wrong?" "Neighbors, what happened?" "The missing cats and dogs were found," a woman said. "Where?" Bella's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 40:32. They were taken away by the security guards. Taken away? What do you mean? Bella was puzzled. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. It's too tragic. I feel like there's a psycho living in our community. Those dogs and cats were all tortured to death. It's very tragic. A murder happened in the community today. Someone called the police, and the police dogs found the bodies. They were buried under a big tree near the fountain in the community. Oh my God, it's so horrible and bloody. I heard that those small animals were drained of their blood. Drained of their blood? Bella was horrified just by hearing about it. Yeah, I don't know who did it. I don't know how psycho he is. It's so scary. I'd better stay at my mother-in-law's house for a few days and not go back to Sky Blessing Court. I heard that the woman who died in the 5th building was also drained of her blood. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I have goosebumps. The gossipy woman turned and left after revealing the information. Then everyone slowly dispersed. A murder happened in the community all of a sudden. How did these dogs and cats get tortured to death? Bella had a feeling that it wasn't that simple. Thinking of what Huamin and Qin Shu had told her, she was even more worried. Could it be that it really had something to do with that person? Bella returned home worriedly. Jixin was upstairs playing games. Yang Meiyerong and Jing Da were watching TV on the sofa. Most of the time, Jingda's expression was a bit stiff. If you didn't talk to him, he would never talk to you. He was a very strange person. Bella had never seen Jingda before, so she didn't know what he was like before. But the current him gave her a very strange feeling. When Bella came back, she saw the golden retriever curled up in a corner obediently with a bowl in front of it. There were some leftovers in the bowl. Mom eats dog food. You don't have to feed it. Bella picked up Hachi with a smile. Holding Hachi, Bella was about to go upstairs, but an idea came to her, and she changed her mind. She sat down on the sofa with Hachi, very close to Jingda. Instantly, Hachi pounced. Subconsciously, Jingda slapped the dog hard, and it fell to the ground. He used a lot of strength, so the little golden retriever cried out from the fall. Ouch, what's going on? Why is this little guy biting people? Yang Meiyerong was afraid that Jingda would be bitten. He hurried over to check on the wound. Jingda rudely pushed Yang Meiyerong away. I don't like dogs. Send them away tomorrow. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Bella hurriedly carried little Mina, who was lying on the ground in pain. Her heart turned cold. He was indeed afraid of dogs, but why would man be so afraid of dogs? Didn't the old people always say that as long as there was something dirty, they would be afraid of dogs? This was a little golden retriever. It wasn't even afraid of children. It was the first time that Jingda had lost his temper since he came back. It was very scary. Yang Meiyerong was also shocked. Seeing Jingda slam the door and leave with a cold face, Yang Meiyerong still has some scruples about her daughter-in-law. Bella, don't be angry. Your dad isn't mad at you. He just came back and isn't used to life here yet. Mom, I'm fine. Maybe I was too careless. I didn't know that Dad hated dogs so much. Bella forced a smile and went upstairs with little Mina in her arms. Jixin didn't know what happened downstairs and was still playing computer games peacefully. Jixin, stop playing. I have something important to tell you. Okay, go ahead. Jixin didn't stop his game. Someone died in the community. I suspect Dad has something to do with it, Bella said directly. Only then did Jixin turn his head to look at Bella in shock. Chapter 4033. Honey, what are you talking about? Did I hear you right? My dad killed people? I didn't say he killed people, but I think it has something to do with him, including the missing cats and dogs that were tortured and killed. Hearing this, Jixin realized the seriousness of the problem. Turning off the computer, Jixin turned around and held Bella's hand with both hands. He put Hachi on the side. It seemed to be badly hurt and kept whimpering in a low voice, making Jixin's heart ache. Bella told Jixin what she had seen and heard tonight. Jixin was very partial to his father, especially his father who had found his lost dog. Honey, we can't be so unreasonable. You can't suspect Dad just because of this. You heard what Mom said. He doesn't like dogs because he lost his dog in the past and was sad. Just now, he hit Hachi because Hachi wanted to bite him. You can't suspect him of having a motive to torture and kill animals just because of this. This is a serious crime. Bella calmed herself down and explained patiently. But Dad was acting strange. Mom, and I heard strange noises that night. He said it was a bird, but I didn't believe him. I didn't see a bird the next day. Didn't Dad set it free? Jixin emphasized. Do you believe everything he says? He's my dad. What if he's not your dad? Bella pressed. What are you talking about? Who else could he be if he's not my dad? Jixin chuckled. Then he hugged Bella and said coquettishly, Wife, don't be angry. My dad must have thought that little 8 was going to bite him, so he got agitated. He didn't do it on purpose. If you feel uncomfortable, you can hit me. Can we not talk about the murder case? Jixin thought Bella was upset about Jingda's scolding and wanted to pick a fight with him. Bella didn't know what to say. Forget it. I'm not angry because of that. Don't think too much. Then don't think too much. Do you hear me? Okay, I won't think too much. Bella decided not to say more. If Jixin couldn't help but tell Jingda, it would alert the enemy. Sister Huamin and brother Qinshu had entrusted such an important task to her. She didn't tell Jixin because Jixin was sometimes too naive. Because of emotional issues, she trusted Jingda too much, just like Yang Meiyerong. Bella sighed slightly, but she couldn't fall asleep. What happened in the community was so horrible. If it had something to do with Jingda, then who on earth was Jingda? Was he really just a pervert? Would he hurt her mother and Jixin? Or did he have other motives? On the other hand, Professor Liu left the United States alone. He wore a human skin mask and secretly went to Iceland. On the way, he had called Liu Yin to stop her and Qinshu from saving people, because he felt that there was a huge conspiracy behind this matter. But Liu Yin was so eager to save her sister that she didn't listen to him and hung up. This made the professor even more anxious. He quickened his pace towards Iceland. Back then, Dr. Lin had been shot in the head during a chase and was in a vegetative state. The professor could not bear to let his wife die of brain death, so he directly used high-tech freezing. He only hoped that one day he would be able to find a way to revive her. So, in the past few years, he had been secretly studying the technology to revive Linya. Unfortunately, his experiments failed again and again. If Qinshu hadn't said that he saw the dead Jing to come back to life, Professor Liu wouldn't have thought of Linya. But now, wearing a thick down jacket, Professor Liu walked into the depths of the ice cave. Sure enough, the ice coffin was empty. Linya was gone, but it was said that she was still there when Liu Yin came last time. Chapter 4034. There was only such a short period of time. Did Linya really come back to life? That was impossible. The professor had confirmed that Linya's brain had entered a dormant state. Without strong stimulation from the outside world, she couldn't wake up. Even a medical genius like him had to work hard for many years, but there were no results. So, how on earth did Linya wake up? Or, who was the one behind this shocking conspiracy to kidnap Linya's vegetative body? Instantly, the professor was confused. On the phone, he heard from Qinshu that Jingda had come back to life. The first thing that came to his mind was the experiment he and Linya had done on the resurrection of the dead. They did the experiment with hundreds of groups of white mice, but the experiment didn't succeed. But it was the experiment they were most interested in. Except for him and Linya, no one else knew the content of the experiment. So, who the hell was this Jingda in China? It was impossible to say that he was resurrected from the dead. After all, the real Jingda's body had rotted for many years. There was no way to restore it to this extent. Could it be Professor Liu's pupils constricted, and he didn't dare to think further? From Jingda's resurrection to Linya's disappearance, to Huamin's capture, and Liu Yin and Qinshu's rescue, all of this was like a huge net that covered the sky, causing people to tremble in fear. With complicated feelings, the professor walked out of the ice, turned on the communication device on his wrist, and dialed Liu Yan's number again. Beep! The signal from Liu Yan's phone wasn't optimistic. Liu Yan's watch could be charged with solar energy and never lost power or shut down automatically. Liu Yan's line wouldn't be busy because she and her father had a separate line. It was different from other people's lines, which was the professor's proudest design. But now, the beeping sound made him feel confused. There was only one possibility. Liu Yan's communication device was completely blocked. For someone to be able to block this communication device, it could be seen how powerful the technology behind it was. It made sense that he didn't want Liu Yin and Qinshu to rescue Jingda. It would be a lie if he said he didn't care about Mion. She was his daughter. How could he not care about her? Although Mion hadn't been by his side as long as Yin, his fatherly love was the same. He just didn't want the two children to fall into someone else's trap. But now, distant water could not quench a present thirst. Even if he was anxious, he was powerless. The professor then dialed a number for Xiao Fei. At this time, Xiao Fei was leading people in the Golden Triangle to inquire about Xiao Nan. In order to avoid being hunted down, Xiao Nan was like a coward, hiding very well. Xiao Fei was impatient and didn't want to waste any more time. He wanted to meet Lu Yin in China. He didn't know where Lu Yin went because the last time he talked to her, she was on a plane back to China. He had always thought that his little Yin was in Sea City. Fei. Professor Lu spoke to Xiao Fei as if he was his own child. Uncle Lu. Xiao Fei was shocked. After all, Professor Lu rarely called Lu Yin, let alone him. Are you still in the Golden Triangle? I was just about to leave. Yes. Have you contacted Yin? Yes. Didn't she go back to Sea City? It seems something happened to Sister Mian, Xiao Fei explained calmly. It seems you don't know that she went to Yunnan. Professor Lu sighed slightly. Yin is in Yunnan? Xiao Fei was surprised. After all, Yunnan was close to the Golden Triangle, but Lu Yin didn't mention it. Chapter 4035. I lost contact with Yin, but she's in danger. Uncle Lu, what's going on? Hearing that Lu Yin was in danger, Xiao Fei tensed up. Long story short, Chu and Yin went to Yunnan to rescue Mian, but I think it's a trap. Someone lured them there. Before they got off the plane, I talked to Yin, but she didn't listen to me. I think she's already there. I'm still in Iceland and can't go there in time. You're in the Golden Triangle. I hope you could take more people with you. Okay, I'll go right away. Xiao Fei couldn't wait. Fei, listen to me. Once you find them, come out safely. Don't fight them. If it's really her, you're no match for her. Only Professor Lu himself knew how powerful she was. In front of Linya, Lu Yin, Xiao Fei, Qin Shu, and the others were just a group of kindergarten graduates. I got it, Uncle Lu. I'll go right away. I'll send the location to your cell phone. Come back quickly. Be careful. Okay. Then, the professor used the code he had decoded for Qin Shu to decode the location where Zhao Qingya called Humin. Then he sent the location to Xiao Fei's cell phone. Xiao Fei took a dozen people to the primitive jungle in Yunnan in a private plane. At this moment, Humin was clamoring in the cabin to see the mastermind. Jack thought Layla wouldn't go to see Humin. After all, she was always arrogant and looked down on everyone. But to his surprise, Layla agreed. Bring her over here, Layla said to Jack. Jack was slightly surprised. Do you really want to see her? Of course. Do you think I don't dare to see her? Layla smiled. No, I mean, you don't need to see her. We have the same face and the same body. I'm quite curious to see her. Will it be as magical as looking into a mirror? But what I'm looking forward to more now is her reaction when she sees me. With Layla's order, Jack turned around and went out. He brought his men to the small wooden house where Humin was locked up. The moment the door opened, Humin didn't seem surprised to see Jack. Hello, my little sister. Jack greeted her warmly. Don't call me little sister, Huasiqian. Don't imitate Huasiqian's tone. You disgust me, Jack. Haha, very good. You actually recognized me at a glance. Jack laughed wantonly. Humin looked at the man in front of him calmly. This familiar face made him have mixed feelings. Because his eyes have always been as gentle as water, unlike the way you look at your prey. Not bad. You are indeed the genius Humin. You can even see such minute details. Let's go. Take me to the master behind you. Humin stood up clumsily with one hand supporting his back. With his big belly, it was extremely inconvenient for him to walk. Jack's eyes fell on Humin's belly. He sized it up, but didn't say anything. Before leaving, Humin looked back and glanced at Suyu worriedly. Suyu was drugged and probably wouldn't wake up unless he used the antidote. But this was good. It was better for him to sleep quietly than to be tortured half to death. Just like this, Humin followed Jack to Layla's room. Chapter 4036. On the way, she met Zhao Qingyao with a smug smile. Bitch, you're dead for sure this time. Young master will make you die a horrible death. Zhao Qingyao felt that the perverted young master meeting Hua Min was definitely the day of Hua Min's death. It's not certain who will compete first. Don't be so smug. Hua Min glanced at Zhao Qingyao casually and smiled slightly. This woman was so different from the rest. She could still smile in this kind of situation. Zhao Qingyao hated Hua Min's expression. It was just like those women. They all hated Hua Min's calm expression. Everyone seemed to want to see Hua Min panic and fear on her face, or even kneel and beg for mercy. But she didn't, because she had never been such a cowardly person who was afraid of death. She was about to give birth, but she risked her life to save Su Yu. At that moment, she had already thrown caution to the wind. What could a person who wasn't even afraid of death be afraid of? Perhaps it was because of the rain, but the road was a little slippery. Hua Min's body was heavy, and she couldn't walk steadily. Suddenly, she slipped. She fell into the ditch beside her. She thought that she was going to fall, but at the critical moment, someone supported her. Hua Min thought that it was one of those small fries and was about to thank him. She saw Jack with Hua Xiqian's annoying face. You're so stupid. You can even fall while walking. You want to save others? Idiot. Jack had never liked Hua Min, so even though he supported her, he still scolded her. However, Hua Min was grateful, so she didn't retort. But the moment her hand touched Jack's hand, the warmth from his palm reminded her of Hua Xiqian, who had taken care of her, imprisoned her, and loved her obsessively on the deserted island. With a lot on her mind, Hua Min lowered her head and continued to walk carefully. Finally, they arrived at Layla's room. You can all leave. Jack came back to his senses and looked at his subordinates behind him. Yes, go in. She's waiting for you inside, Jack said. Okay. Hua Min nodded. Hua Min, are you really not afraid of death? If you die, your children, your husband, everything you have. Jack didn't finish his sentence, but his meaning was obvious. Everyone will die one day. Rather than be afraid, it's better to throw caution to the wind and calmly accept the arrangements of the heavens, everything. After saying that, Hua Min looked at Jack. Thank you. With that said, Hua Min opened Layla's door, opened Layla's Layla. Hua Min's smile was very infectious. Jack froze on the spot for 3 seconds before leaving. Then he turned to leave. He seemed to understand more and more what kind of person Hua Min was. This bamboo building was the largest in the entire area. It was 3 stories tall. The interior was also luxuriously decorated. After Hua Min entered, she didn't see anyone. She subconsciously walked to the second floor. The second floor was similar to the first floor. It was decorated like a living room and had an ancient style. Finally, she walked up to the third floor clumsily. On the big bed on the third floor, a woman with a graceful figure was lying there with her head propped up. Her back was facing her. She was only wearing a long men's shirt, the kind that was envious and seductive. Her long black hair wasn't too long and only fell to her shoulders. Hua Min only took one look and felt that this figure looked familiar. However, she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. We finally meet, Mian. As soon as she spoke, Hua Min was shocked. How could this be her own voice? Was she hallucinating? Chapter 4037. Who are you? Hua Min's voice trembled. Do you think I'm familiar? Don't try to be mysterious. Who are you? Hua Min felt like she couldn't hold it in any longer, as if she was being driven crazy. Only then did the woman slowly turn around. She was wearing a golden mask. It was in the shape of an angel's wings. It was stunning, but her eyes, Hua Min still felt that it was very familiar. TSK, TSK. Look at you. Look at how miserable you've gotten yourself. How can you think of yourself as a tool to give birth? This is your 3rd baby, right? The woman approached Hua Min step by step and looked at her belly. Hua Min instinctively reached out to protect her belly. Do you think I'm familiar? Layla reached out and slid her hand across Hua Min's face. Hua Min took 2 steps back, hating her physical touch. Actually, Huamin, I've known about your existence for many years. Yes, I've always been familiar with you. Who are you? The more Huamin listened, the more confused she became. Why would a woman who looked so young say that she had known about her for many years? Layla didn't answer her. Instead, she reached out and slowly took off her mask. When her face was completely revealed, Huamin was shocked. Yes, she was really shocked. It was an identical face to hers. And based on her intuition, it was definitely not a human skin mask, nor was it plastic surgery. Plastic surgery would leave unnatural marks, but this face had none at all. It was even more natural than her own face. Because Huamin was pregnant, pregnancy symptoms would appear. Her body would become bloated, so her face wouldn't be as beautiful and rosy. But the woman in front of her was different. She was like herself at her peak, Huamin in her best state. You. Huamin was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Do you think we're identical? Huamin was so shocked that he was speechless. How could this be? That's impossible. Even twins can't be this weird. Huamin muttered to herself. She could not accept this fact so quickly. Twins? Don't be ridiculous. With your IQ, how can you be my twin? I despise you mortals who think you're smart. It's disgusting. There's nothing about you that interests me. Your job, your family, your daughters, your friends. Everything seems so stupid. But I like your husband. Yes, Huamin, I'm very interested in your husband. You've seen my husband? Huamin finally got the point. He must have seen Qin Chu. Otherwise, why would he say that? I've seen more than that. Anyway, other than Qin Chu, everything about you is worthless. No matter who you are, if you want to hit on my husband, I advise you not to. He won't like you. Even if you look exactly like me, he'll be able to tell. He doesn't like imitations or substitutes. Huamin mocked Layla calmly. That's hard to say. If I'm good enough, he won't be able to tell if I'm you or not. Tell me, if you always admit that I'm the wrong person and sleep with me, or even do something intimate with me, will you feel bad? Is the image of a good man that you're so proud of crumbling? So you lured me all the way here just to seduce my husband. Huamin felt that this woman's intentions were childish. She couldn't have set up such a big trap just to get Qin Chu, right? Chapter 4038. You're thinking too much. Layla smiled mysteriously. Then what's your conspiracy? Huamin had an inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. He had a feeling that something bad was about to happen. This feeling had happened once a long time ago. It was when Qin Chu's plane exploded on his way to the United States. That time, she and Qin Chu were separated for 4 years. Therefore, she was especially afraid of this feeling of loss. You'll find out. There's no rush. Layla turned around and lazily lay on the big bed. I heard Lu Yin is very strong. For some reason, Huamin was shocked when he mentioned Lu Yin. She didn't answer because she was afraid that the more she said, the more danger her family and loved ones would be in. The first time I met you, it was just as I thought. No, it should be said that you're even more disappointing than I thought. Such a stupid woman is regarded as a genius by those people. This might be the funniest joke of the century, so I'm still skeptical of the rumors about Lu Yin, the god of war Lu Yin, the explosive genius Lu Yin. Yin isn't as gentle as me. You'd better not provoke her. Huamin seemed to be warning her. Layla only smiled and said, the more you say that, the more I look forward to meeting her. By the way, did you know? Over the years, those who have seen my true appearance only have 2 endings. The first is to become my obedient dog. The second is to become a person whose corpse has already rotted away. Which one do you think you want to be? I won't do either, Huamin refused flatly. TSK. Fine, it doesn't matter anyway. You won't have the chance to tell this secret to anyone else. She smiled. Then a black pistol appeared in his hand out of nowhere. She held the pistol and aimed it at Huamin. If I shoot you, you might end your pain and be free. If you want to do it, hurry up. Don't delay. I hate people like you. Huamin was fearless. At this point, many things were already out of her control. Therefore, the moment Layla pointed the gun at her, she had already made up her mind. Whether she lived or died was up to fate. Before Layla could shoot, Huamin suddenly said, "But if you kill me, you won't have the antidote anymore." "Oh, did you poison me?" Upon hearing Huamin's words, Layla immediately reacted. "Yes, I've been particularly obsessed with making drugs recently, and I guarantee that it's a type that has never been seen on the market before." Huamin had always been very proud of his test subject. Layla was so close to her just now, so she took the opportunity to poison her. Besides, he had the antidote, so he would be fine. But shouldn't Layla be showing signs of being poisoned now? For example, his palms started to itch. "This trick of yours is something I learned many years ago. Forget about your poison. I'm afraid even Professor Lu's poison won't work on me, because I'm immune to poison." Layla smiled and got up. As expected, nothing happened at all. "Impossible, I don't believe it." Layla's safety was a huge blow to Huamin. She thought that Layla was playing a psychological tactic to get the antidote. However, she looked fine. Her poison should have invaded her heart within 30 seconds. How could it be? "So, our stupid Huamin? Come, it's my turn to play with you." Layla pressed the pistol against Huamin's forehead with a smile in her eyes. Her hand pulled the trigger bit by bit, and the air seemed to have frozen at this moment. "Young madam." At the critical moment, Jack barged in. Chapter 4039. "What? My little pet, are you feeling sorry for him?" Layla looked at Jack with a sarcastic smile. "No, young madam, it's—" Jack glanced at Huamin and was a bit worried, but he still said, "Qin Chu and Lu Yan are here." "Whoa, so fast." "Not bad." Layla put down the pistol, as if something more interesting was about to happen. She wasn't trying to scare Huamin. Or rather, she didn't plan to kill Huamin. She just wanted to see Huamin pee his pants in fear. But how could that happen? She was Huamin. She was the most famous calm sister in her circle of friends. Huamin should have been happy when he heard that Qin Chu and Lu Yan were here. But now, he wasn't happy at all because he felt that the conspiracy behind this was not so simple. A woman who looked exactly like him, a woman who could turn a thug like Jack into a pet, a woman who could make the sugar daddy behind Zhao Qingya extremely terrified, a woman who had a contemptuous look on her face when she mentioned Lu Yan. Huamin suddenly felt that what if his husband and Yin fell into the trap and were no match for her? Just now, this woman seemed to be interested in Qin Chu. The more Huamin thought about it, the more flustered he became. "Jack, take her down first." The show is about to start. Layla put on her clothes elegantly. It was Huamin's favorite outfit. She was wearing a beige Disney hoodie, jeans, and white sneakers. Then, she imitated Huamin and tied her hair into a simple ponytail. He swaggered right in front of Huamian. "Oh, I don't know when we'll meet again, so you have to cherish the opportunity." Layla's tone made Huamian uncomfortable. She gave Huamian a mischievous smile and imitated her voice, tone, and expression. Huamin felt a chill run down his spine. This woman was either crazy, completely crazy, or she would do something even stranger. After Layla left, Jack brought Huamin back to the cabin. On the way, Huamin didn't say a word. When they were about to arrive, shaking off his subordinates, Huamin asked Jack in a low voice, "When you first met her, did you mistake me for her?" Jack was slightly startled at first. Then he replied in a low voice, "Yeah. Is her ultimate goal Qin Chu? To be honest, I don't know." No, it wasn't that Jack didn't want to tell Huamin, but he really didn't know. After all, he was always in a precarious situation when he was by Layla's side. "Jack, I want to see Huasiqian," Huamin suddenly said. "Stop dreaming and don't play tricks. You can't escape. You can't imagine what she's capable of." After saying this, Jack pushed Huamin into the cabin and turned to leave. Huamin took a deep breath and walked back to sit beside Suyu. She carefully took out the antidote from her bag and applied it to Suyu's nostrils. The pungent smell immediately woke Suyu up from his coma. The aphrodisiac in his body was no longer effective. She had to admit that Huamin's self-made medicine was very powerful. However, she didn't understand why it didn't work on that woman just now. She was the one who had poisoned her. Mian. Suyu slowly woke up, but his head was still dizzy. Suyu, we have to escape. That woman has left for now. Now is the best time, Huamin whispered in Suyu's ear. Chapter 4040. Mian, don't worry about me. The two of them are too big of a target to escape. You go first. I'll distract them. You know I won't leave you behind. Faced with Suyu's request, Huamin didn't have the energy to get angry. She just looked at Suyu calmly. She wouldn't leave him alone. Not in the past, not in the future. Listen to me. You're pregnant. Think about the baby. Ahem. Suyu coughed violently. Huamin carefully helped him up. Maybe it was the strong anesthetic just now, but Suyu couldn't muster up any strength. In such a short period of time, Suyu had used the aphrodisiac and anesthetic for half a day. It would be difficult for him to recover his strength. My baby doesn't want mommy to be a coward and abandon him, Uncle Suyu. Huamin smiled. You didn't abandon me. One person dying is better than two people. No, 3 people dying here. No matter what you say, I won't abandon you. Huamin insisted on not agreeing to Suyu's request. He turned around and poured a glass of water for Suyu. Huamin suddenly remembered what just happened. My husband and Yin came to save us. I saw that woman rush out. And Suyu, I just met your woman. Do you know how strange it is? She looks. Huamin was still in shock when he thought about what just happened. But just as Huamin was about to tell Suyu about it, the door opened. With a bang, the door was pushed open. Zhao Qingya appeared at the door with a black leather whip in her hand. Oh, you two are still in the mood to flirt at a time like this. Zhao Qingya smiled viciously. Huamin and Suyu didn't say anything. They were both on guard against Zhao Qingya. She walked in slowly. She was wearing an orange, low-cut dress. It had to be said that Zhao Qingya's taste was getting worse. Perhaps it was because he was stained with that substance, but his face looked much older than his peers. Perhaps Mr. Y's taste was too strong, which seriously affected her sense of beauty. All in all, Zhao Qingya no longer had the same temperament as when she was an imperial star. Her dress was comparable to that of a woman who had lost her footing. Suyu shielded Huamin and stood in front of her, as if he was afraid that Zhao Qingya would hurt Huamin. After all, she was a lunatic. Huamin wasn't afraid at all. Compared to Zhao Qingya, she was more afraid of the woman who looked exactly like her. Zhao Qingya, let's work together, Huamin said slowly. What? Did I hear wrongly? Huamin, you're saying you want to work with me? Ha ha. Holding the whip, Zhao Qingya threw her head back and laughed crazily. You didn't hear wrongly. I want to work with you. I'm very interested in what you said. I really want to know how you're going to work with me now that you're prisoners. What do you have to work with me? Zhao Qingya looked at Huamin and Suyu with disdain. Her eyes were filled with hatred. Zhao Qingya, stop pretending. You're just someone's dog now. Everything depends on your master. If he's happy, you might have bones to eat. If he's not happy, you'll be tortured until you wish you were dead. Do you really think you're happy living like this? Zhao Qingya's expression changed slightly after hearing that. She didn't expect Huamin to see through her so clearly. Instead of living like this, why don't you take a gamble and see if you can change your way of life? So the way of life you're talking about is... Zhao Qingya looked at Huamin. Chapter 4041. You help us escape, and we'll give you a chance to live. After Huamin finished speaking, Zhao Qingya didn't respond. She lowered her head and seemed to be thinking. Huamin continued. Your mistress just left here. Now is the best time. Do you know what she's doing? My husband and sister are here to save me. They must have brought a lot of reinforcements. Your mistress is no match for them. So, if you help us escape now, then you can get out of their control. From now on, Suyu and I will let bygones be bygones. We'll give you a lot of money, arrange a new identity for you, and even help you get plastic surgery. You can go to a new place and start a new life. Zhao Qingya, you're not even 30 years old. You haven't even lived half of your life. You don't want to live the rest of your life like this, do you? Huamin caught Zhao Qingya's weakness. Zhao Qingya's face was full of hostility. There were bruises and marks on her neck. Her cheeks were also slightly swollen. It was obvious that she was often abused. She didn't live the life of a pampered canary. Zhao Qingya probably didn't like her current life, but she couldn't escape it. To be honest, Huamin's words tempted her. That was because what he said had touched her heart. She had long had enough of Mr. Y's inhumane treatment of her. She trembled with fear in front of the psychopathic mistress. She didn't know when she would be beheaded if she said the wrong thing. Therefore, Huamin asked her to help them escape. He would give her money, freedom, and a new identity. It was indeed a great temptation for Zhao Qingya. However, that's a good suggestion. Huamin, you really can see through people's weaknesses. I was almost convinced by you. But why should I help you escape? You're my enemies. Without you, I wouldn't be in this situation today. I'm destined to never forgive you. My sister, she can't die in vain. So, Huamin, even if I live like a dog, even if I live in purgatory, I want the two of you to die with me. Then, Zhao Qingya raised her hand and whipped down. With a smack, the long whip swung over with so much force that it caught them off guard. Suyu reacted quickly. He pushed Huamin away and raised his arm to block the whip. The whip landed on Suyu's right arm, leaving a bloody wound. It was a ghastly sight. Suyu didn't make a sound. Huamin was extremely sad. He knew that Zhao Qingya was fickle. He thought that he had a good chance of convincing Zhao Qingya to help them. However, he didn't expect that he underestimated the power of that thing. Zhao Qingya couldn't leave Mr. Y at all, mainly because she couldn't leave him. She had been completely corroded and couldn't be saved. TSK. Suyu, I have to say that you're a real man. They say that all women are jealous of Huamin. You're so good to her that I'm going crazy. Is she worth it? What have you gotten from liking her all these years? Maybe you haven't even kissed her. You big idiot. Haha. Zhao Qingya continued to laugh crazily. Huamin quickly took out his medical kit and bandaged Suyu's wound. But before she could bandage her wound, Zhao Qingya lashed the whip at Huamin's face. Suyu blocked the whip with his back. His back was dyed red with blood. Suyu, you want to be a hero, right? Fine. I'll whip you to death first. Then I'll whip this little bitch to death. You two can die together. I'll be a good person and fulfill your dreams. Haha. Zhao Qingya took advantage of the fact that the mistress wasn't around to take revenge crazily. Her actions caught everyone off guard. Chapter 40-42. Zhao Qingya had lost her mind like a mad dog. If this continued, neither Suyu nor Huamin would be able to hold on. While Suyu wasn't paying attention, Huamin pounced over and caught Zhao Qingya's whip with his bare hands. Then, Zhao Qingya felt her wrist go numb. The whip fell to the ground. What did you do to me? Zhao Qingya raised her wrist and found a silver needle as thin as a cow's hair on her right wrist. However, the place where the needle pierced was already turning purple. I poisoned you, poison. Zhao Qingya was so scared that her face turned pale. Don't you know that I'm not only a doctor, but also a top poison maker? Zhao Qingya, don't push it. Do you think you'll kill me and sue you? Let me tell you, you'll die before you kill us. Also, this poison won't take effect immediately. It'll let your body rot bit by bit until you're neither human nor ghost. Only then will you die in pain. Huamin's voice was so sharp that Zhao Qingya's heart sank. Huamin, if that's the case, I'll set fire to you two first. Zhao Qingya went even crazier. After hearing Huamin's words, she didn't know if she was scared or something else. Zhao Qingya, I don't want you to die. You can still choose to help us. I have the antidote. Why should I believe a bitch like you? Zhao Qingya's face turned pale with anger. Because you have no other choice. I'm afraid that after Mr. Y finds out that you're poisoned and can't take care of yourself, he'll order us to carry you deep into the mountains and forests and let you be eaten by wild animals. So, let's see if you can save yourself. As I said, as long as you help us escape, sue you and I won't hold it against you. This time, Zhao Qingya seemed to be tempted. Humans were indeed afraid of death, and Zhao Qingya was even more so. She looked at the gradually changing color on her wrist. She felt an itchy and painful sensation from the silver needle. She knew that Huamin was not lying. Since she dared to come alone to save Suyu, she must have come prepared. I can help you, but why won't agree? My words don't count. Zhao Qingya hesitated before voicing her concerns. Don't be afraid. Put this in his teacup, and he will fall into a deep sleep and won't know anything. Of course, you can also add more to prevent future troubles. You should know that if you add too little, it can make a person sleep for a day and a night. If you add too much, he will fall into a deep sleep. It's up to you. Huamin threw a bag of white powder at Zhao Qingya's feet. Your time is limited. I want you to take us out of this forest and to the nearest town. As long as we're safe, I will give you the antidote immediately. Otherwise, 7 hours later, the poison will enter your heart. Even if you kowtow and beg me, I won't be able to save you. So, Zhao Qingya, it's up to you to choose heaven or hell. Huamin was clearly at a disadvantage, but her tone was arrogant and full of confidence. Therefore, Zhao Qingya was indeed a little scared in front of such a powerful aura. She licked her lips and squatted down with trembling hands. She picked up the bag that Huamin gave her and seemed to have made up her mind. Even if I take care of Wai, what about Hua Xiqian? He's the young master's lackey. Zhao Qingya didn't know that Hua Xiqian had another identity as Jack, so she only thought that it was Hua Xiqian. He's already gone with that woman, but we can't be sure that he'll come back soon. So now is the best time. Zhao Qingya, I'll only give you 10 minutes to make your choice. Otherwise, we'll both die here. To prevent Zhao Qingya from changing her mind, Huamin had been using psychological tactics to scare Zhao Qingya. Chapter 4043. Huamin was confident in dealing with someone as stupid as Zhao Qingya. Sure enough, after being provoked, Zhao Qingya picked up the bag and ran away. Suyu hadn't recovered yet. Plus, he was whipped twice, so he was a little weak. After Zhao Qingya left, Huamin immediately took out the first aid kit and quickly disinfected Suyu. Suyu gritted his teeth. He didn't complain about the pain, but he felt warmth in his heart as he watched Huamin take care of him and bandage his wounds. Mian, don't worry about me. Shut up. Don't say that kind of bullshit. Huamin's face was stern. When she was really angry, she looked very scary. Pudding and Little Bean were especially afraid of their mother's serious face. Before Suyu could say anything, Huamin deliberately increased the strength of his hand. Ugh, Suyu frowned in pain. Zhao Qingya is afraid of death, so she'll drug Mr. Y for sure. As for how much she'll drug him, that's up to her. She'll probably take us out of here in a bit. Suyu, let's get out of here and go home safely. I believe my husband and Yin won't be in danger even if they can't beat that woman. After we get out of here, call Grandpa Su and ask him to send the army to chase away these psychopaths. Huamian hated that woman to the core, so she babbled on and on like a child. Suyu smiled and reached out his hand, wanting to brush away the loose hair on Huamin's forehead. But in the end, he didn't dare to do it. He didn't dare to cross the line. He couldn't before, and he couldn't now. Okay, I'll listen to you. Our Dr. Hua is the smartest. He'll find a way. Suyu said gently. Just as Huamin expected, Zhao Qingya returned in less than 10 minutes. Mr. Y was an easy target. Most of the time, he was not conscious. He was either smoking or having sex with a few young models. That was all he had for fun. When Zhao Qingya arrived, Mr. Y had just had a big fight and was very weak. Zhao Qingya pretended to pour him a glass of water, then secretly added Hua Min's anesthetic. She was still a little selfish. Even though Y had saved her from prison, she had not been living well for the past few years. She thought about the future. If Huamin could really fulfill his promise and help her change her name and start a new life, she might be able to find a good family to marry, have children, and live a normal life. Therefore, Zhao Qingya added the full dosage when she put in the medicine. In such a place, Y did not expect Zhao Qingya to betray him, so he drank the water without hesitation. In less than a minute, he fell asleep and his breathing became weaker. Zhao Qingya held his token, which was the lighter with the totem of the Doomsday Reaper. She returned to the small wooden house again. Miss Zhao, the young master ordered me to take the two people inside away. After saying that, Zhao Qingya took out the lighter, full of confidence. The two subordinates looked at each other and finally gave in. Miss Zhao, where's Mr. Y? He's still sleeping. If you disturb him at this time, you'll have to deal with the consequences. Zhao Qingya deliberately scared these small fries. Yes, we'll listen to Miss Zhao. Do you need help? We can help you. No need. There's someone there to help. Just leave them to me. Then, Zhao Qingya opened the door, glanced at Huamin, and said coldly, Our master said to move you. Come with me. Huamin was overjoyed, knowing that the plan was a success. He quickly helped Suyu up and walked out. After walking out of the bamboo buildings, Zhao Qingya walked in front without saying a word. How long will it take for us to reach the nearest town? Huamin was actually a little tired. After all, she was a pregnant woman who was about to give birth. Chapter 40-44. If we walk, it'll take at least 4 hours. If we're lucky enough to run into a car, it might be faster. Zhao Qingya replied angrily. Then, she suddenly stopped in her tracks. Give me some antidote first. I'm itching. Zhao Qingya reached out her hand. Huamin glanced at her and took out a small white pill. Take one first. When Suyu and I are safe, I'll give you the antidote. You better not play any tricks. After all, even if you kill me, you won't know which is the real antidote. I have dozens of bottles of the same pills in my first aid kit. Huamin smiled. You're so vicious, Huamin. Zhao Qingya cursed in exasperation. Same to you. Miss Zhao, let's hurry. This is not a place to stay for long. Huamin was wary of Zhao Qingya, afraid that she would play tricks, so he said that on purpose. In fact, she didn't have so many pills in her first aid kit. It was just that Zhao Qingya was simple-minded and afraid of death, so it was easier to trick her. On the other side, Huamin and Suyu had just left. A beeping sound came from Layla's wrist. She looked down. Hee, wanna run? What's the matter, young madam? Huamin and Suyu left the cabin. According to the GPS, they're running northeast. Huamin must have used that stupid Zhao Qingya. What should we do now? I'll take people to chase after them. Jack said. You? How can I trust you? What if you can't bear to let your sister go at the critical moment? Wouldn't all my efforts be in vain? Layla reached out and touched Jack's chest flirtatiously. It seemed that her every move was filled with desire. Even a strong man like Jack couldn't take it anymore. He felt like he was about to be sucked dry by this woman. Fine. Since you don't trust me, I'll stay by your side. Otherwise, you'll be unhappy if I don't complete the mission well. Haha, you're angry, aren't you? Fool! Go, why wouldn't I believe you? As for Suyu and Huamin, one is pregnant and the other is barely alive. They won't be able to get far. Bring some men to chase them down. As for Zhao Qingya, just kill her. That piece of trash shouldn't have been left alive. As for Y, when I return, I'll personally deal with his dereliction of duty. All right, young lord, I'll bring some people over now. And go ahead. I'll bring 10 people with you. You guys drive there. It should be done within half an hour. Then you can meet up with me. Yes, young mistress. With Layla's order, Jack took 10 men and drove 2 SUVs to the northeast. On the other hand, Layla brought 17 to 18 elites with her, each of them holding a submachine gun. Everyone, let's rest here. This is the only way. Come, let's see who will arrive here first. Layla ordered everyone to stay where they were and wait for the rabbit to appear. At this moment, Qin Chu and Lu Yin were entering the center of the bamboo building from 2 directions with their men. At this moment, Lu Yin and Layla were only 5 kilometers away from them. Lu Yin only had 4 people with her, and each of them was an elite. Therefore, she didn't need to bring many people with her. Instead, she was worried about her brother-in-law since the signal was blocked here and he couldn't use his cell phone or walkie-talkie. They had to be careful. Boss, someone buried many landmines here. Most of them are advanced, invisible landmines. The enemy is a master. One of Lu Yan's subordinates, an expert in mine clearance, looked around, and felt that this trip was dangerous. Good. I like to fight with masters. When I see her, I'll beat her until her mother can't recognize her. Lu Yin was domineering. Chapter 4045. It was destined to be an eventful night. After Suyu went missing, Huamin went missing, and now Qin Chu went missing as well. His friends were on the verge of breaking down. Tang Chuan sent voice messages in the group chat almost every day. Gao Ran knew a little about the case, but refused to talk about it. Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei were also worried about them. They couldn't do anything but pray for their safety. After Wei Ying and Shun Mingxi remarried, they lived a peaceful life. After remarrying, the first thing Shun Mingxi did was to attack the Yi family's business. The Yi group's capital was in danger. After being beaten up, Yi Zhaoyang hid like a coward and didn't dare to show his face. Shun Mingxi was afraid that Wei Ying would be traumatized, so he bought another mansion and moved in. This time, the mansion wasn't far from Hua Min's mother's sky blessing court. Shun Mingxi went to work on time. Wei Ying was busy with her work during the day and would come home early to cook for Shun Mingxi at night. Life was very warm. Ying, did you transfer money to Tian Tian again today? Shun Mingxi asked Wei Ying during dinner. Yeah, she told you. She didn't, but she's young and doesn't have a separate card. Her card is my secondary card, so I can see her transactions. Oh, I see. Huh. I can't hide anything from you. Wei Ying smiled. She looked beautiful and happy. Ying, don't give Tian Tian any more money. She doesn't lack anything. I just gave her $100,000. It hasn't even been a month. She's such a young child. How did she spend $100,000? You transferred another 50,000 yuan today. She can't go on like this. Although Shun Mingxi loved her, he didn't want her to become a spendthrift princess. Tian Tian called me and said that there was a child in her class who had leukemia and was collecting donations. Tian Tian donated 50,000 yuan at once. The school leaders were very happy and praised her. The teachers also treated her very well and made her the class monitor. I don't object to this kind of charity. Wei Ying didn't think there was anything wrong with what she did. Tian Tian called her almost coquettishly. She called Wei Ying Mom again and again, which melted Wei Ying's heart. It had to be said that she was still a relatively simple woman. Even though she had a grudge against Hui Yinyan before, she did not transfer it to the child. On the contrary, after Hui Yinyan's death, she had always felt guilty and treated Tian Tian even better than before. I don't think she would dare to lie about this. After all, we can find out the truth after an investigation. But is she really doing charity and donating money to help her classmates? You mean? Wei Ying was surprised. I'm just afraid that she has other motives. Tian Tian doesn't seem like someone who would be so kind to children. Shun Mingxi had a history of violence in Singapore, so he had always kept an eye out. Now it was Wei Ying who trusted the kid, while Shun Mingxi was on his guard. That can't be. She's still so young. What does she know? Let's not think of her in a bad light. Xiaoying, leave Tian Tian's living expenses to me in the future. Don't give her money in secret. She's young and doesn't understand many things, so we have to educate her well. Okay, big brother Mingxi, I got it. Seeing Wei Ying lower her head and look aggrieved, Shun Mingxi's heart ached. He put his hand on the back of Wei Ying's hand and said gently, Xiaoying, let's have a child of our own. Hearing his words, Wei Ying was stunned. She thought she had misheard him. Chapter 4046. Big brother Mingxi. We have to have a child of our own, Shun Mingxi repeated. Wei Ying's cheeks flushed slightly. Although they had remarried, it seemed that they were still in a relationship and hadn't gotten used to being an old married couple. Shun Mingxi's words of love made Wei Ying blush. To them, betrayal, missing out on each other, and hurt each other. After going around in circles, they were both the only people they couldn't let go of. Big brother Mingxi, let nature take its course. It's not easy to have a child. By the way, how's big brother Suyu doing? Wei Ying cleverly changed the topic. At the mention of Suyu, Shun Mingxi's face turned serious. There's still no news. I heard that even Lord Su can't do anything. This time, it's really dangerous. Shun Mingxi's respect and love for Su Yu were deep-rooted, just like when they were young. Especially when he was in trouble, Su Yu was the only one who was willing to lend him a helping hand. He was very grateful. After remarrying Wei Ying, his relationship with the Wei family was still a bit tense. However, the Wei family didn't seem to be as hostile as before. Inside the dormitory of Imperial Star, after Su Xiaoxiao left, they were going to arrange for a new intern to live here. However, Han Yuiao's status was different now. After participating in Dance Allure, Han Yuiao became popular as a dark horse and had her own agent and assistant. There was even a rumor that she was Su Yu's new favorite. This made Han Yuiao a hot new star, and some advertisers even came to her door. However, the finals of Dance Allure hadn't started yet, so they didn't know who would win. Therefore, Han Yuiao didn't accept any endorsements or commercial performances. Now that Su Yu was missing, she couldn't make the decision herself. The day before yesterday, her agent's sister said that she wanted to ask the vice president for a new place for her to live. This was because Han Yuiao was no longer the trainee she used to be. She was now a famous artist who could take charge of herself. According to the company's rules, female artists who didn't have a place to live would be provided with 2 bedrooms and a living room in a high-end neighborhood and a nanny van. But Han Yuiao refused. She didn't want to move out. It wasn't that Ba Lianhua was pretending to be pitiful, but she felt that this place was very close to Star King, and it would be convenient for her to see Su Yu. Besides, she had many memories with Su Xiaoxiao here, so she didn't move away. But the company didn't allow anyone to move in. Gradually, it became Han Yuiao's single apartment. Late at night, Su Yu, don't die. Waking up from a nightmare, Han Yuiao called Su Yu's name desperately with sweat all over her forehead. She had just had a terrifying dream. In the dream, Su Yu was covered in blood, lying in the ruins, dying. With his eyes closed, no matter how much she called out to him or shook him, he didn't react at all. At that moment, she felt suffocated by the pain in her heart. She did not want Su Yu to die. If Su Yu died, she could not imagine what she would do. Would she go blind from crying? After waking up, Han Yuiao was still in a bad mood, even though she knew it was a dream. Listlessly, she got up and poured herself a glass of water. Looking at the clock, she saw it was 1:30 in the morning. At this moment, she received a WeChat message with a ding. Without drinking the water, Han Yuiao ran back to get her cell phone. She really hoped that Su Yu would reply to her WeChat message when he came back safely. In the past few days, she had been waiting for the message as if every time her cell phone rang, she would get scared. Chapter 4047. Yuan Bo. Yao, are you asleep? Han Yuiao replied with a voice message in annoyance. Why aren't you sleeping at this time? Why are you harassing me? What do you want? Yuan Bo, haha. You finally replied to me. I just recorded a new song in the recording studio, and my brain is still excited. I can't sleep because I miss you. Han Yuiao, your flirting tricks won't work on me. Just give up, superstar. Yuan Bo, I didn't use any tricks on you. If I did, you'd be in my bed now. Han Yuiao, damn it. How can you say such shameless words? Yuan Bo, it's true. If I use tricks, no one can resist me. Haha. But I decided not to use any tricks on you because you're the first girl I truly like. Han Yuiao rolled her eyes. So, I should feel proud of your sincerity. Yuan Bo, okay. Han Yuiao, screw you. Go back to sleep. I'm not in the mood to bicker with you. Yuan Bo, yeah, you're not in a good mood recently. Did Su Yu dump you? Han Yuiao, Yuan Bo, is your head full of feces? Can't I have other emotions? Why must it be Su Yu who dumped me? Damn it. Can you stop cursing me? Yuan Bo, haha. Since you're in the mood, let's go out and have a drink. I found a small bar with a good atmosphere. The singer sings folk songs and is very interesting. Han Yuiao, good night. Goodbye. Before she finished listening to Yuan Bo's voice message, Han Yuiao typed a reply and turned her cell phone to silent mode. In her current mood, she didn't want to see anyone. She just wanted Su Yu to come back safely. After drinking water, Han Yueyao stood on the balcony and looked at the lights in the distance with mixed feelings. She carefully knelt down on the cold tiles. Bodhisattva, I beg you to protect Su Yu and make him come back safely. If Su Yu can come back safely, I'll do anything. I'll go to the temple and burn incense. I'll kowtow to you. Even if it costs me 10 years of my life, I'm willing. I beg you, please don't let anything happen to Su Yu. She was an atheist and didn't believe in any religion. However, Huamin had once said something that was especially true. Once a person reached the point of despair, they could only pray to God. What else could he do? What else could he do? In the primitive forest, Su Yu, Huamin, and Zhao Qingya had only walked for half an hour, but Huamin was already exhausted. He didn't know if Zhao Qingya was doing it on purpose, but the roads she led were all extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult to walk through the ditches. If Huamian's body had been like before, she wouldn't have had any problems. But now that she was pregnant, her feet were swollen even if she didn't walk. It was very difficult for her to walk on such mountain roads. Seeing her gasping for breath, Su Yu's heart ached. Let's take a break. I think you can't take it anymore. Before Huamin could reply, Zhao Qingya immediately scolded him in a sarcastic tone. If you want to die, you can take a break here. I'll run anyway. At this point, I've already been dragged onto the pirate ship by you guys, and I can't get off. Young master's men all have cars, and it's only a matter of minutes for them to catch up to us. If she catches me, I'd rather die now. Thinking of the psychopath who twisted people's heads, Zhao Qingya shivered. So, she didn't agree with the idea of taking a break. I'm fine, Su Yu. She's right. We can't stop. We must get out. Huamin gritted his teeth and held on. At this moment, the roar of a car came from not far away. Damn it! Someone seems to be chasing us. Zhao Qingya panicked. Chapter 40-48. Hearing that someone was chasing them, Huamin and Su Yu panicked. It's okay. Maybe they're not chasing us. Let's calm down first. Huamin comforted Zhao Qingya, afraid that she would go crazy and do something extreme. On the other side, Lu Yin and Qin Chu split up and approached the bamboo building with their men. Since all the electronic devices were blocked, Lu Yin and Qin Chu drew a rough map before they split up. After entering the jungle, they had to rely on the rough map to find it, so it was very difficult. Lu Yin and her men often fought in the wild and had rich experience, so they arrived at the intersection before Qin Chu's men. But Layla had been waiting for them here. Young madam, they're here. After a while, Layla's men reported in a low voice when it was about time. Layla put down the glass of human blood in her hand and smiled. It's good that she's here. I've just had my fill. I can play with her now. Layla turned on her watch and saw Lu Yin approaching step by step. She waved her hand, and her men all disguised themselves and hid under the thick leaves. At first glance, they couldn't see anything. After Lu Yin and her men pushed aside the last branch, they saw the woman standing in the jungle. Sis, Lu Yin had never expected to see her sister as soon as she came in. Moreover, she was just standing there by herself, like a fool. Yin. The woman was excited to see Lu Yin. Lu Yin was relieved when she heard her sister's voice. Lu Yin could imitate the appearance, but not the voice. She was very good at recognizing voices. Therefore, he didn't think too much about it. He immediately ran over and hugged her. Sis, you scared me. Are you okay? I'm fine. Yin, why are you here? How did you know I was here? Lu Yin was about to speak when she looked down and saw her sister's flat belly. Sis, where's the baby? Where's your baby? Lu Yin's voice was very excited and raised a few decibels. At the mention of the baby, the woman's face showed faint sadness. Yin, the baby is gone. Those people abused me and Su Yu. I couldn't save the baby. Then why are you here? Lu Yin was confused. Maybe they know you're here to save me, so they purposely let me lure you here. Yin, hurry up and leave. Don't worry about me. They're very scary. The woman tried to push Lu Yin away, which made Lu Yin's heart ache even more. He didn't know what she had gone through, but his sister's child was gone. When the woman pushed her, Lu Yin grabbed her wrist. Sis, I'm not leaving. I'm here to save you. brother-in-law, and I are here to save you. Where's Suyu? Where is Suyu? Suyu is still in that bamboo building. This is a trap. Yen, you should leave. Don't worry about me anymore." As she spoke, the woman squatted down, covered her face, and wept. She looked very sad. "Damn it. These bastards dared to bully my sister. I'll make them pay with their blood." Lu Yin was furious. Her sister, who was about to give birth, was in such a state. With her temper, she would probably blow this place up. Just as Lu Yin was about to storm into the bamboo house, Qin Shu heard her voice. Suddenly, she felt a chill on her waist, as if something was stabbing at her. Lu Yin reacted quickly and turned around, twisting the woman's wrist, but the woman still managed to escape. Then Lu Yin jumped back and glared at the woman with the sharp dagger in her hand. "Who the hell are you?" "Whoa, not bad. What did you find out?" Layla smiled and played with the knife in her hand. Chapter 4049. You have too many flaws. I saw through your tricks long ago. Lu Yan's face was cold. Tisk TSK. I didn't waste my time. A genius who graduated from West Point is indeed different. You're a little better than your stupid sister. Layla didn't expect Lu Yin to see through her identity so quickly. She had planned to stab Lu Yin in the back when she was unprepared, but Lu Yin didn't have time to react. She wanted to capture Lu Yin instantly, but she didn't expect Lu Yin to react so quickly. In fact, Lu Yin was a little wary at the beginning because it was abnormal for her sister to appear here alone. Besides, this sister's figure didn't look like a woman who had just had a miscarriage. It must be noted that she was about to give birth. Even if she had a miscarriage, she would have to induce labor. A woman who had just had an abortion didn't have so much energy. So, Lu Yin took the opportunity to touch the woman's wrist. She came from a medical family. Although she liked to study explosions, Lu Yin's medical skills were actually good. When she was 15 or 16, she was obsessed with Chinese medicine for a period of time. So, she was especially interested in pulse feeling and studied it for about half a year. She knew almost all the theories of Chinese medicine. As soon as she touched the woman's wrist, she knew she was lying. A woman who had just had a miscarriage definitely didn't have this pulse. So Lu Yin became even more suspicious. When Lu Yin turned around, it was the best time to strike. Sure enough, she did it. But because Lu Yin was prepared for it, the knife didn't succeed. Lu Yin didn't expect to be intimidated by someone as soon as she arrived. No wonder her father had been telling her not to act rashly on the phone. It seemed that something was wrong this time. First of all, the woman who looked exactly like her sister wasn't wearing a human skin mask or having plastic surgery. Lu Yin had checked this when she was close to her. Second, their voices were exactly the same. The woman wore her sister's favorite clothes and imitated her every frown and smile. Not to mention Lu Yin, ordinary people probably wouldn't be able to see through it. Fortunately, Lu Yin was attentive and found something wrong. Then, she tested it carefully. If her brother-in-law saw this woman, Lu Yin didn't dare to imagine the consequences. She felt a chill run down her spine. "Where's my sister? Do you want to know? Come and beat me?" Layla smiled. Then, Layla's subordinates emerged from their camouflage positions. "You guys go back first. Don't worry, I want to play some fighting games with this little girl who doesn't know her place." "You're arrogant." Lu Yin looked at Layla in annoyance. She was the first person in the world who dared to challenge Lu Yin to a fight. "That's right. My greatest pleasure today is to torture you. I've always liked to smash other people's high and mighty things into smithereens. You can call it a bad habit or a pervert. Anyways, the genius of West Point, the female warrior of the mercenary world, the goddess revered by assassins, the legend, the myth, the little devil that Caslias and Ian are most afraid of. Lu Yin, come on, let's fight. If you win, I'll let you take Homin away. If you lose, you'll have a new place to go." Infuriated, Lu Yin flew into a rage. "Tell me, trash, how do you want to play? I'll play with you until the end." Lu Yin took off her jacket and gave Layla the middle finger. Her blood boiled instantly. Lu Yin hadn't had fun in a long time. The woman in front of her was so arrogant that it made her furious but also excited. Chapter 4050. On the other side, Chinshu was also having a hard time walking because the road around the bamboo building was filled with minefields. Chinshu's subordinates weren't as professional as Liu Yan's, so they only walked a few hundred meters before someone was injured by an explosion. Fortunately, Chinshu had a professional first aid kit and treated his subordinates' wounds in time. President Qin, don't worry about us. Go and find a young lady. Let's go together. I brought you here, so I'm going to take you out. Chinshu insisted and even led the way in front of them. They searched for the bamboo building according to the map. As they carefully cleared the mines, the rescue mission became even more difficult. Huamin, Su Yu, and Zhao Qingya's fighting spirit was slowly destroyed by Jack's arrival. You ran fast enough, Jack smiled. His subordinates were more than a dozen dark-faced men with submachine guns. At that moment, Su Yu was in despair. He wasn't afraid of death, but Mian couldn't die here. Zhao Qingya, you've got guts. You even dared to betray the young master. Jack glanced at Zhao Qingya and smiled. I didn't. I was just threatened by Huamin. That little bitch poisoned me. If I don't listen to her, the poison will take effect, so please don't tell the young master, okay? Zhao Qingya changed her words at the last minute. To prove the truth of her words, she even rudely tore at Huamin's hair. However, as soon as she touched it, Su Yu pushed her away and she fell to the ground. Su Yu's strength was gradually recovering, so he was furious at Zhao Qingya's rudeness to Huamin. He used almost all his strength to hit her, and Zhao Qingya was caught off guard. She fell to the ground in a sorry state. Su Yu, Huamin, haha, your time of death has come. Even so, you won't be able to escape. Once we return to the young lord's hands, we'll all die. But before we die, I'd better take my revenge. Then, Zhao Qingya suddenly took out a pistol from her back and aimed it at Huamin's back. Just as she was about to pull the trigger, her head suddenly exploded. His brain juices burst out, and then he instantly fell to the ground. Su Yu and Huamin looked at Jack in horror. In his hand was a pistol with strong explosive power. Shooting at close range, Zhao Qingya died a horrible death. He didn't even have time to scream. Huamin looked at the white brain matter and retched. He almost threw up the porridge that he had eaten earlier. Su Yu hurriedly supported her. Mian, how are you? Huamin waved his hand and tried his best to suppress the churning in his stomach. She took a deep breath and looked at Jack. Then, with a plop, she knelt down. With her big belly, her movements were very clumsy, and she looked like a round chinchilla. Jack's eyes instantly became deep. He didn't say anything and just looked at Huamin quietly. Huamin, what are you doing? Why are you kneeling to him? Su Yu was angry. Yes, Huamin was a person with a backbone. She wouldn't say anything even if you killed her. But at this moment, she suddenly knelt to a psycho like Jack. What she did was unexpected. Su Yu was furious. He went to help Huamin, but Huamin didn't have any intention of standing up. Jack, please. Your young master wants to catch me. This has nothing to do with Su Yu. I'll go back with you, but please let Su Yu go. With that, Huamin solemnly kowtowed to Jack. At this moment, Su Yu felt like his heart was about to break. Chapter 4051. Huamin, you're really devoted to Su Yu. Jack didn't sound sarcastic or contemptuous. It was as if he was just stating a fact. Perhaps Huamin's actions had shocked him. This woman was always able to catch him off guard. Huamin, get up. What are you doing? Do you want me to die? Su Yu was about to fly into a rage. He swore that if Huamin wasn't pregnant, he would have slapped her. He really wanted to give her a tight slap across her face. What was she doing? Huamin ignored Su Yu and continued to beg Jack. Let me settle the grudge between us. I don't want to implicate my friend. Please let him go. Otherwise, I'll take the poison and kill myself right now. I'm afraid you won't be able to explain it to your master because he doesn't seem to want me to die. I might still be useful. Seeing that Jack didn't speak, Huamin used his trump card. A white pill appeared in his hand out of nowhere. I promise you. Almost without thinking, Jack said these 4 words. Then send Suyu away now. I want to see Suyu leave. Huamin requested. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Huamin, you big idiot. If anything happens to you, I don't want to live. I can't live. Suyu was about to break down. Huamin's actions made him feel extremely selfish. He didn't even ask for Jack's opinion, and even threatened Jack with such an extreme method as taking poison. Suyu was about to go crazy. Huamin turned his head and looked at Suyu. His eyes were unprecedentedly calm. Suyu, be good. 1 death is better than 2 deaths. Besides, I won't die. Those people haven't achieved their goal yet and won't kill me. You don't have to stay here with me. Master Lord Su is still waiting for you. Everyone is waiting for you. Han Yueyao is a good girl. Suyu, you still have a great life ahead of you. Don't talk nonsense with me. Without you, Huamin, my life isn't a good life. Suyu almost roared these words. It had been a few years. He had hidden this feeling in his heart and didn't dare to confess it. He was afraid of causing misunderstandings between Huamin and Qin Chu. He was afraid of burdening Huamin. He didn't even let his friends joke around with him. Huamin had become a secret in his heart. But at this moment, this secret couldn't be hidden anymore. Huamin thought that Suyu didn't care about Suyu's kindness. What he wanted was a life with her. Even if they could only be good friends, he wanted a life with her. Okay, I don't have time to watch you confess to each other. Huamin, come back with me. Jack didn't want to see Suyu and Huamin being lovey-dovey, so he stopped them in time. I won't go. Even if I die here, I won't leave you behind. Suyu, listen to me. Please. Huamin's tears fell like rain. She just wanted to send Suyu out safely. If Suyu returned safely, then one of her wishes would be fulfilled. Why? Huamin, why are you making decisions for me? Who do you think you are? Who are you to me? I won't listen to you this time. I won't. I won't leave you behind. Suyu's bloodshot eyes were no longer filled with tears. This scene reminded him of the nightmare from more than a month ago. Huamin was covered in blood, but she let him go. His heart was in so much pain that he almost suffocated. Huamin, the woman he was willing to sacrifice his life for, was torturing him at this critical moment. Suyu was in so much pain. Chapter 4052. You're so slow. Since you don't want to leave, I'll give you a ride. Jack snatched the submachine gun from the black man beside him and aimed it at Suyu. At that moment, Huamin quickly got up from the ground and stood in front of Suyu. What are you doing? Huamin frowned and asked. I'm sending you to hell. Then, Jack smiled and pulled the trigger of the submachine gun. At that moment, Huamin and Suyu both held their breaths. They thought that Jack was going to take revenge on them, and they were dead meat. But the moment Jack pulled the trigger, he pointed the gun at the people behind him. Then, the sound of the submachine gun rang out. The dozen or so people who came with Jack all fell to the ground with bloody holes in their chests. Huamin and Suyu were dumbfounded. Why? Huamin was really confused. He was stunned by Jack's reversal. Long time no see, little sister Mian. Jack smiled gently. Huamin would never forget this expression, because she had seen it countless times on the desert tour. This was Hua Xiqian's expression that no one else could imitate. So, this wasn't Jack at all? Hua Xiqian, how long have you been here? Huamian wanted to know when he had turned into a human. After all, a split personality needed to be transformed. Yeah, more than half a month. Hua Xiqian smiled. So, it's been you for the past few days? Huamin was so surprised that his jaw almost fell to the ground, because in the past few days, she really couldn't tell. Yes, I didn't see any flaws at all. Huamin was surprised. Hua Xiqian threw the submachine gun in his hand to the side of the road and slowly walked over. If you saw through it, would I still be able to fool Layla? When Huamin saw Hua Xiqian, whom he hadn't seen in a long time, he suddenly felt a burst of warmth in his heart. He no longer had the disgust he had before. Perhaps it was because of this sensitive moment. Seeing him was like seeing a family member. You're Hua Xiqian, so you couldn't tell at all. It had to be said that this guy was very shrewd and his acting skills were very good. Uh-huh. Huasiqian whistled as he walked towards Huamin. What do you want? Suyu pulled Huamin behind him vigilantly. Don't panic. If I wanted to hurt you, they wouldn't have fallen just now. Without waiting for Huamin to respond, Gunyinji said. Huasiqian pulled her out from behind Suyu. Then, he took out a wet wipe from his pocket and slowly opened it. Then, he took out the wet wipe and gently wiped Huamin's face. In this primitive jungle, even water was precious, let alone something as luxurious as wet wipes. Huamin didn't resist, because after the thrilling experience just now, she didn't have the strength to think anymore. She just stood there quietly and let Huasiqian wipe her face. Look, you're beautiful like this. Huasiqian looked at Huamin's delicate face with a smile. Huasiqian, who is your master? Why'd he capture us? So you couldn't wait. Although Huasiqian wasn't a friend, he was definitely not an enemy either. I'll tell you later. Mian, you must be tired. Come, get in the car. Without waiting for Huamin's reply, Huasiqian picked Huamin up by the waist. Then, he walked towards the only off-road vehicle. Suyu, come here. Seeing that Suyu was still in a daze behind them, Huamin hurriedly called out to him. Suyu came back to his senses and followed. You drive? I want to accompany Mian in the back seat, Huasiqian ordered Suyu. Why should I? Lord Su wasn't convinced. He also wanted to accompany Mian in the back seat. Who wouldn't want such a good job? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.